Testing. Let me see. Let me make sure everything's coming all right. Coming through all right before we get into this. R.I.P. to Coolio. It's a very familiar pattern, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Plus a whole lot of other things. But I just want to make sure everything's on right. And it looks like it is. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. If you're new here, the reason this channel is called GematriaEffectNews, that weird word at the beginning, gematria, it's so rare, everyone pronounces it in their own different way. But again, it's the ancient practice of coding numbers into words. And turns out if you turn A into 1, B into 2, C into 3, D into 4, up to Z into 26 using the alphabetic order that we learned in kindergarten, there's something really relevant about this number 59 to black history, and you see a lot of relatively young black men from the world of entertainment die at this age. And again, Motown Records came out in 59, and Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. But if you add up the gematria of the word slave, it equals 59. Negro, 59. Blues, 59. Rasta, 59, and the list goes on. My ebooks are free to download. The book Letters and Numbers, the 18th chapter, is about how this code of 59 is used to shame people in the nightly programming, as they so often refer to the news as, back to your regularly scheduled programming. But so often when a 59 date numerology rolls around, there'll be some ritual shaming of a black athlete, entertainer, a dead black entertainer. And not only is Coolio dead at 59, he's dead September 28th, 22, which is a date with 59 numerology. 9 plus 28 plus 22, 59 for September 28th, 22. And, of course, if you're around my age, older, younger, maybe even his songs, they still play on the radio. I'm sure most people living in the United States of America who have a radio have some idea of who Coolio is. And even if they don't know him real well, they probably saw him somewhere once upon a time. He's been a celebrity. But this is what we see again and again in this world of entertainment. And sometimes these guys aren't nearly as big as a name like Coolio. Sometimes they're former college basketball players, like we talked about what happened to the Michigan State athlete earlier this year on May 9th, 5'9". And that day was full of examples of exactly what we're talking about right now. But again, gematria, the ancient practice of coding numbers into words. You know, you learn this code. We just said all those words equal 59. The word home run equals 94 in that cipher. Today, the day of this stream, Aaron Judge just tied Roger Maris's home run record for the American League, hitting his 61st home run 61 years after Roger Maris, who did it in 61. But today leaves 94 days left in the year. Home run equals 94. Ties the home run record. And anyhow, you learn this code, you see through the headlines. And again, people should have seen it back in 1961. Come on, 61 home runs in 61. That's a special number in sacred geometry. It's a number connected to a shape called the flower of life, which is essentially the symbol that represents God, because all shapes in sacred geometry can be made out of the flower of life. And anyhow, that's where this whole knowledge of geometry, numbers, letters, where it all comes together. Again, gematria means geometry and language. And remember, the word geometry equals 108 forwards, and when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, it equals 108, so it has perfect symmetry. And again, 108, spiritual number. It's celebrated in a lot of different spiritualities, even in yoga. And again, it's the sun, the moon, the earth. They say from the moon to the earth is the diameter of 108 moons, and from the moon to the sun is the diameter of 108 suns, and from the edge of the sun to the other edge, the diameter, it's 108 earths across. They say it's that ratio that creates for the perfect eclipses. So we're told. But anyway, don't forget, with regards to baseball, there's 108 double stitches on a baseball, and Major League equals 108, and that's why we were so confident that the Cubs would win the 112th World Series on November 2nd, 1-1-2. We picked them to beat the Indians before the playoffs even began. Cubs win it in Game 7, and we had the Cubs in spring training that year, but we were talking about a lot about 108, its meaning, its symbolism, and this back in 2016, right? You know what's funny? If you can go back and find my old video before that Cubs won the World Series, there will be a video of number 94 on the Cubs, 94 days before the World Series, hitting a walk-off home run. And again, I was showing the connection between the number 94 and World Series in Gematria, and why it would make so much sense for the 112th World Series to end on November 2nd and the Cubs to break the 108-year drought. Again, geometry equals 108. Mathematics equals 112. 1 plus 1 is 2. Just using that simple cipher. A is 1 up to Z is 26. And now, on the day leaving 94 days left in the year, a home run record. And, again, right before the 61st anniversary. October 1st will mark 61 years to the day of Roger Maris hitting his 61st home run in 1961. Remember, Obama this year turned 61, born in 61. That was on August 4th, and they said the lightning bolt hit near the White House. And they said the married couple celebrating their 56th wedding anniversary was killed by the lightning bolt, and Obama won the 56th election. And in Hebrew, Barak means lightning. And in Gematria, lightning equals 44 when you use numerology, and he was number 44. It's just like how the other year on his birthday, you had the Beirut explosion. The last time we were talking about a Beirut explosion in America, it was the Beirut barracks explosion. And then on Barak's birthday, Beirut blows up. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Anyhow, perfect day for a home run record. And also in the news yesterday, the Yankees were getting their 95th win of the season on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. The Cleveland Browns got rid of number 90, or not rid of, the Cleveland Browns star number 95 was released from the hospital on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. But yesterday, again, Yankees get their 95th win and stay on 59 losses on the most perfect day against a perfect team, the Toronto Blue Jays. Again, if you guys have been here from the beginning, the two ciphers I knew. You see where Blue Jays is 95? Again, they just got their 95th win on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Remember, September 27th is very important to the Jesuits. That's the day they were recognized by the Roman Catholic Church in history with the purpose of countering the 95 Theses. And if you guys want to download my other ebook that's for free, Number Games, that book came out in 2020. It talked about how Garrett Cole, in his first career game with the Yankees, picked up his 95th win after being signed by the Yankees on his 95th day of his age. And Fauci threw out the first pitch, who's a Jesuit. Again, the Jesuits' purpose to counter the 95 Theses, September 27th, their day. And again, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, the name Fauci is 95. But notice, again, today leaves 94 days left in the year. Yesterday, the 95th win for the Yankees. Today, the day leaving 94 days left in the year. The home run record that ties a former Yankee, Roger Maris. And again, if you go back and watch that highlight of Maris hitting number 61, it was the Yankees versus the Boston Red Sox. It was number 39 on the mound, New York's 39 in the most pure cipher with numerology. The catcher was number 22, Boston's 22 in the most pure cipher. Again, you guys, that's this cipher right here. Notice how Toronto Blue Jays, when you use numerology, is 59. Again, the Yankees became 95 and 59 versus the Blue Jays on the day leaving 59 days left in the year. But in the most pure cipher, again, New York is 39 and Boston is 22. 39 plus 22 is 61. Go back and watch the highlight. Number 39 pitching to catcher number 22 with Roger Maris up to bat, who hits his 61st home run. Number rituals. And anyhow, there was one more piece of that thought that's slipping out of my mind right now. But again, it's obvious that they're paying tribute to the number. Myles Garrett, number 95. Again, big headline in the NFL on a non-football playing day, but a big headline for the NFL. Okay, Myles Garrett's back out of the hospital. And again, storylines. You had John Cena the other year up in front of, I think that's which one it is. I get my wrestlers confused because I don't watch wrestling, but he was doing the ESPYs presentation and pointing out how all of pro sports is no different than wrestling. And people forget that it wasn't that many decades ago where people thought wrestling was totally legit. The same one that they now watch today knowing it's rigged and scripted, but they still watch it and it's bigger than ever for entertainment purposes. And someday they might tell us that it really is MLB The Show, and I have a feeling it wouldn't hurt ratings. People would be like, well, I just watch it because it's entertaining anyway, you know? And it's just like we live in a world where people actually don't mind being lied to, as long as it has like an element of fun and entertainment to it. But anyway, also yesterday, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Oh, hold on, we'll hit all these headlines, but again, just for people who are new here, again, just Coolio being dead at age 59 on the day leaving 59 days left in the year, just so you can see this with your own eyes. Again, in the most simple cipher, slave, 59, Negro, 59, Rasta, 59, Blues, 59. Again, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown Records came out in 59. Anyhow, yesterday, this was also in the news. This was the thing that took over the nightly news last night, this leak of this pipeline, the Nord Stream, the one that we've heard all about since February 22nd. Remember, that was the day that Biden addressed the nation at 2:22 about Russia's troops going into Ukraine. It was 2 days before the military conflict officially began, but it was 2:22 that Russia went into Ukraine, and then Russia, halted a portion of fuel to Europe through this gas line, and now they're making it seem like Russia attacked their own pipeline to create a greater conflict. And again, just people just fall for these stories hook, line, and sinker because they believe, the word with lie in the middle, authorities, from the religious to the governmental to the news to the principal to the educator. And again, people need to learn to question these things and start to look at how we're all being manipulated worldwide. Not like, oh my God, I hate Russia. Remember when Facebook adjusted their policy earlier this year and said they were temporarily allowing hate speech for Russia? Go back and look at this. Again, they have no tolerance for anything truth. They want to label everything in the truth community hate speech. But then, to instigate another war, Facebook will temporarily, change their policies for that one specific thing. It's just, you just see how this authoritarian technocracy society is encouraging certain behaviors and controlling other behaviors. Look at all the YouTubers who refuse to say things that they should say, at least every so often. They censor every last word. I mean, that's exactly what they want us to do. If we totally censor ourselves, and I mean, it's just like if everybody started getting on YouTube and, well, I don't know with the AI and algorithms. Maybe they could just do it all with AI. Maybe they could just delete everybody if they still did that. That's why we all need to really get off these platforms. We need to collectively get off them and make community and make things happen in our community without the internet. Because the internet's like a weapon, just like the TV for the most part, being aimed at humanity. It's not meant to help them out. People aren't meant to understand the way we're being manipulated. The people who do the manipulation, they're the same ones censoring people who are pointing out wrongdoing. And if somebody's dead wrong about something, that still doesn't need to be censored. It should eventually be filtered out and defeated as an argument through discourse, debate. But anyway, lots of headlines referred to this as Nord Stream leaks. And just think about that phrase, on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Again, if you're new here, when I first started, all we ever talked about were the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order of the rules of numerology. But we realized after about 3+ years of the research that the other thing was just running the alphabetic order in reverse, and also with numerology, and it revealed a lot more. The Nord Stream leaks, notice how it's 58 in the most pure cipher. This was the news on the big Jesuit day, September 27th, 2022, which was a date with 58 numerology yesterday, so perfect with Nord Stream links, and then also 95, on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. This phrasing all over in the news with, and the speculation, a Russian sub was in the area, Russian Navy was in the area, So, yeah, and today they're coming out and saying there was seismic activity that was, the same as explosions. You know what? What is the word that I'm thinking of that I cannot place right now? I know what it is. Holy Trinity is 175, and so is Pope Francis. And back earlier this year, when Rambo really went into the Poseidon thing with 9/11 and where it fit in with Ukraine and JFK and so many other things, I started looking at it more too, and I realized that the piece I added on was the 175. Because again, if you're new here, the World Trade Centers that collapsed on 9/11, if you look it up, part of their architecture was paying tribute to the trident, and the trident is the weapon of Poseidon. And in astrology, Poseidon is Neptune, and the mission to kill Osama bin Laden was Operation Neptune Spear, and the spear of Poseidon is the trident, three-pronged. And again, there's a huge Catholic Jesuit piece with all this. Again, the Jesuits are the military or the Catholic Church, but Holy Trinity has 175, and so does Pope Francis. And again, one of the flights on 9/11 was Flight 175, and I'm forgetting something else from the piece. There's another big piece with 175, Pope Francis, and 9/11, and people will say, well, he wasn't Pope yet, but yeah, he was on his way. And remember, I mean, he's the most perfect guy to be the first Jesuit Pope. Remember, he's the 266th Pope. See, this is how you know that you got to run things forwards and backwards. Isus hominum salvator, in the most simple cipher, is 274. That's the Jesuit motto. In the sun, which is their logo, the sun in the sky. The Catholic Church began celebrating the birthday of the sun, Sol Invictus, on December 25th in the year 274 AD. That's the Roman Catholic Church's history. And right now, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, is 85 years old. He's the 266th Pope. When he spoke in D.C., he spoke there September 23rd, the 266th day of the year. And you see how Isus hominum salvator is 122 in reverse? Look at Pope Francis in the most simple cipher. 122. In reverse, 175. Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. The 59th presidential election, Joe Biden became number 46, exactly 46 weeks after his birthday. Something we were harping on about all year. Pope Francis, you can look up the images of him doing the hidden hand pose, which is a Masonic pose. You'll see Jesuits doing it too. Again, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation, but you see how Pope Francis is 59 and 58? So is Freemasonry. And yeah, anyhow, you learn this knowledge and you see who's really pulling the strings, and it all starts to make sense just because you realize it's like, wait a minute, the Catholic Church, they gave us, the language is credited to a Catholic monk. It's the oldest known script. The calendar, all this stuff synced up. You just look day after day how perfect it is and how often the massive new ritual to shape the agenda, how perfectly coordinated it is by the numbers day after day. And again, there is an organic side to the code, but again, who feels that 9/11, having researched that subject, was an organic event? I mean, it looks like it was an event planned long in advance in tribute to numbers because there's a belief from Kabbalah that God speaks through numbers. And again, the problem is if you've locked into a certain religious mindset, you might not be allowed to acknowledge something because you've been told that that's completely evil and it's all witchcraft and you should never pay it any mind. And maybe ultimately at the end of the day, maybe you should not pay this. I mean, it would be sad to find out if at the end of the day, we should have never even opened up this can of worms because humanity just wasn't ready and it ultimately only brought in more problems. Because, maybe really revealing this stuff does bring like a dark spiritual energy that tries to fight back. Like you're not supposed to put this information out there. Even if that was the case, my mindset is, man, we got to change this world. This world needs to be changed, and I only see how you can do that through knowledge and information. And again, in my whole life, I've never seen anything that lines up. I mean, you guys just see, I could do 12 hours of new content every single day, and really more than that. If we had a full-time staff of 20 sets of eyes and ears paying attention to the headlines all throughout the world, I mean, you could broadcast 24-hour about what's taking place. And again, most of these news breaks, once you know how to use this simple system and pay attention, you see just headline after headline that's breaking. You don't even have to dig that deep to start to see already what the ritual is. But then the more you look, the more you find. and the more it makes sense. And speaking of, how I was saying how Aaron Judge hit the home run record today on the day leaving 94 days left in the year and home run equals 94, coming back to Coolio, his first big album, what year did it come out in? It came out in 94. It Takes the Thief, 94. And you see, like, the way I see it, just now understanding the bigger picture, you see how the same things that control your news, control your government, control these mega corporations, control these record studios, it's like a network of a small group of very powerful individuals who control companies that have millions, if not billions, of customers. And you just see how they put out their little stuff everywhere. And right now, you guys, we're being thieved from, like, just unbelievably thieved from. And after driving around on the East Coast, I'm just amazed at what those people put up with. I'd be going out of my mind if I had to drive on the East Coast with all those tolls. It is a joke. But it takes the thief. We're ruled over by thieves, It's just like we were just in New York saying, who has forgotten? I mean, that's the thing. Most of America has forgotten or never even noticed that Donald Rumsfeld, the day before 9/11/2001, talked about how the Pentagon had lost $2.3 trillion. I mean, think about how much money $1 million is. Here, we hear these numbers all the time and we don't think about how big they are. Let's say if you had a salary that was $10,000 a month, that means you would make $120,000 a year. That's pretty good money in most places in America. In New York City, with as expensive as a lot of stuff is in tolls, maybe it doesn't go as far as New York City, but most of the country, $120,000, you're living pretty good. And I think even in New York, you could get it done fairly well for $120,000. You just don't have a car and anyway. But if you made $10,000 a month, to make $1 million, you have to make 10,000 how many times to 1 million? Here's how I do it in my head. 10,000 times 10 is 100,000. 10,000, or not 10,000, 10 times 100,000 is 1 million. So you have to make 10,000 100 times, because we did it times 10 times 10, which is the same as times 100. So anyway, you have to make $10,000 100 times to make $1 million. And to make $1 million into $1 billion, that's 1 million times 1,000. 1 million times 1,000. So, I mean, think about that in months. So it was going to take 100 months, and this is if you didn't pay any taxes, right? And could save every last dollar. You'd have to make 10,000 100 months in a row. So that's 8 years and 4 months. For 8 years and 4 months, you got to make 10,000 to make $1 million. But you wouldn't be, I mean, you'd have obviously a lot of taxes and expenses in this world. So, I mean, depending how good you are at saving, you might have between, well, it all depends. You could make more if you're really good at investing and doing stuff like that. Hey, if you're really good with gematria and sports, you could make it into a lot more. But anyway, the point is, that's a long time to get to 1 million. And if you wanted to get $1 billion, you'd have to do it 1,000 more times. So that means it would take you, it was 8 years and 4 months before. So whatever 8 years and 4 months times 1,000 is, many, many lifetimes. A lot of lifetimes. Yeah, so that's to get to $1 billion. And to get to $1 trillion, you have to multiply that times 1,000. So, I mean, seriously, and that's just to get to 1 trillion, and they lost $2.3 trillion, and then the next day 9/11 happened, and we're just supposed to nod our head along, and then you realize things like, wait a minute, in 1968, 911 was made the emergency dialing code, World Trade Center construction began, George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones, Boeing debuted the jumbo jetliners, 2001: A Space Odyssey came out. You research it deeper, you realize Boeing's in Seattle, Magnuson Klemenkic Associates, one of the main engineering firms on the project, was from Seattle. The designers from Seattle. Remember Seattle, the city by the sea, Poseidon, the sea, the trident. And again, I mean, you start to realize 68 was 33 years before 2001. The builders, the masons, the word masonry in gematria is 33, like secrecy, like order, like federal. False flag, New York, 33 years earlier, the buildings are erected that come down the same year 911. And again, what's it say on the Masonic Temple? All is number. What else is it about that temple in D.C.? 33 pillars on the outside that are each 33 feet tall. And the address is 1733 for the building. Mason is 17. Masonry is 33. Modern Freemasonry created in 1717. Freemasonry is 59, the 17th prime. So you see how it works. I mean, people, that'll be people's criticism. Zach, you're saying 17, you're saying Masonry, and Freemasonry, so you have all these numbers, but it's like, yeah, those are all ways that they use their language, and isn't it amazing the way it all lines up? 59 years after modern Freemasonry, this nation's created in 1776. Anyway, Coolio's breakout in 94, on the day leaving 94 days left in the year this year, on the 59 date numerology, he's dead at 59. And I don't know how many times I've said over the years, covering these same type of rituals and writing books and just saying, just watch how in the 59 date numerology this happens. I've said many times over the years, I bet we'll watch a lot of rappers that we knew when we were younger die at age 59. And these are easy predictions to make because we've just been documenting it with all sorts of entertainers, just the same pattern over and over. So here's Coolio, and by the exact pattern, this happens. And again, I'm just always begging the truth community, the people who haven't been censored as much, who have a bigger platform, who could get this knowledge into a lot of people's hands so they can look at it for themselves and come to their own conclusions. Why are we not sharing this stuff? I mean, and a lot of these channels claim to be Christian channels that want to break people out of the matrix and are telling people, stop supporting all these things in these entertainment industries because they're evil. And they're not wrong about that. But why wouldn't you want to share with your audience this information to show them? Just look at when the Christians get mad at me and say I'm satanic because I'm showing this satanic gematria knowledge that's so evil that no one should talk about. Again, to me, it does look like it's super evil the way they use it. And that's what I think people should be aware of so that they can see there is something evil going on and people need to try and figure out a solution to stop this. Unless you're content with living in a world where people are doing this. And if your argument is that people have always done this and it's always going to go on this way, things can always be better. And again, to me, if awareness comes to a problem and then people have a goal of, again, what if everyone stopped supporting this? What if everybody turned off their television cable? What if it went viral to let's stop supporting cable in these movies. Let's just stop all this. We're not supporting any of this. We see that this is going on in the industry. We're not giving another dollar to this industry. We're not giving our time and energy to this industry. What if everybody did that? And for all the people out there who they'll say that'll never happen, it'll never happen as long as people continue to have these pessimistic, we're already defeated attitudes. And I think sadly a lot of people who watch truth content, they do feel defeated. And at this point, they're only watching so they feel less alone in the world. And you guys, I mean, if again, I keep saying, can we get somebody else in the community who has a platform to promote one of these gatherings that we've had and are trying to have in the future, getting people to come out and rally at spots in the world where terrible things happen that were used as divisive issues to change laws and mindsets and beliefs. If we could come out as a people on these anniversaries and, raise awareness, educate. If this was going on all over the world, if what we just did, this little tiny thing in New York City on 9/11, if that was being replicated all the time, all over the world by groups of people, again, I think there would be a change in society. If everyone was out in LA with RIP Coolio, learn Gematria right now, learn about 59, download this book and read chapter 18 for free, Because again, I mean, you guys, this stuff is happening every month. Every month. I mean, it's happening every day. But I mean, it's just, again, I know there's an organic side, but just way too many young black men all the time. I mean, you'd have to have, if this was all organic and all just the way the creator made the world, the creator would have to be inherently racist. I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine that. Okay. And yeah, here, just about other stuff going on in the news. Did you see the show The Crown on Netflix? They had to pause it when Queen Elizabeth died, and now they've announced a new queen. And look at the familiar pattern. The actress who they got, Imelda Mary Philomena Bernadette Staunton. Mary. Again, the Queen Elizabeth, her birth name had Mary in it. The new prime minister who took office on 9/6, 2 days before the Queen died at 96, and Diana was buried on 9/6. Again, Freemason equals 96. But, again, the new prime minister, her birth name is Mary Elizabeth Truss. Mary. The Queen's birth name has Mary in it. I believe it's Elizabeth Alexander Mary, the Queen's birth name. And again, she dies on the Virgin Mary's birthday, and now the new replacement queen has a middle name, Mary. And notice she was born in 56, right? Royal family's 56. Elizabeth's father died at age 56. Super Bowl 56, where the Queen City lost. Cincinnati, which equals 96, like she dies at 96. And then she dies the day the NFL season begins. The other Queen City, Buffalo, wins. But anyway, we've been talking about how the funeral for her was 56 days before Charles' birthday. Charles in Gematria equals 66. In Jewish Gematria, king equals 66. He gave his first speech as king on 9/9, 66 days before his birthday. And his father died at age 99 on the 99th day of the year. And whatever the queen's birth name is, if it's Elizabeth Alexander Mary, here, let's see. If this equals 99, it's the queen's birth name. Hold on. Elizabeth Alexander Mary. Yeah, that's it. And the most pure cipher, her name is 99. Again, her husband died at 99 on the 99th day of the year. Charles gives his first speech as king on 9/9, a day after her death. All a little bit too perfect. And again, royal family equals 56. This woman born in 56. So again, she's 66 when they do this. And Charles in the most simple cipher, 66. And remember, LeBron is 66, and LeBron James is also 66. And where LeBron James is 42 and 66, so is New Testament, which begins with the 42 generations to Jesus and ends with the 66th book of the Bible. And it begins with Matthew, where math is 42 and 66. But the reason LeBron matters is because, when you think of LeBron, he's on the Lakers now, but you still think of the Cavaliers. He's from Ohio, again, born in Akron in the same hospital as Steph Curry, who we met for 4 straight finals. R.I.P. to Nate Thurman, who was also born in Akron and played for the Warriors and Cavs. But anyway, he played for the Cavaliers, who are named after King Charles, the people who fought in the English Civil War on behalf of King Charles were called Cavaliers. And King Charles was the son of King James, and LeBron's nickname is King James. You see how Lakers is also 66 and 96 like LeBron? Queen's dead at 96. Purple, gold, colors of royalty, the Lakers, rituals, rigged game, rigged system. Yeah, if LeBron wins another finals, he'll go from 4 and 6. Remember, he became 4 and 6 right before number 46. We were saying how those things would be connected the year they happened, before they happened. But the thing about him getting to 5 and 6, again, royal family is 56. Notice how Civil War is also 56. Remember that Captain America Civil War came out, I think it was exactly 56 months before the January 6th insurrection, which is a huge Jesuit ritual. For the record, Washington, D.C. is also 56. The Society of Jesus has been there longer than the federal government. That's the Jesuits. But anyhow, I again, just think about this, you guys. It's like they're trying to recreate a civil war, right? The George Floyd thing was on Memorial Day, which was created for the Civil War. This year you had a racially charged shooting, they said, in Charleston on the anniversary of the start of the Civil War, and the Civil War started in Charleston. And they just been coding, all the Civil War numbers over all this stuff. Notice again when you write out Washington D.C., it's 56 and 61. Again, Civil War is 56. But remember, the insurrection was on the 6th day of the first month, 6/1. The Civil War began in 1861. The word Confederate is 201, like the Jesuit order. And from the day the only Confederate statue fell in D.C. to the day the insurrection was January 6th, or was 201 days later. The statue fell on June 19th, 2020, after the George Floyd riots. And notice how George Perry Floyd, his full name, is also 201 and 102, like the American Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. Slavery's 102. This year we had an Underground Railroad shooting on April 12th, the anniversary of the start of the Civil War, the 102nd day of the year. They blamed it on a black man in New York City, subway, Underground Railroad. And then you had it in Buffalo where the Underground Railroad went through. Yeah. Again, there's just so much to explain. Yeah, I know I'm super redundant, but it's just like people got to know these patterns. By the way, from Charles' birthday to the day that they named this replacement, this Mary, it was 258 days after his birthday. And I did a typo, I realized that. But Charles equals 66 again. 258 days after Charles' birthday, they choose this Mary. And yeah, there's even more to say about it, but that's enough. You guys, again, a really good lesson for introducing the 4-base ciphers. Congrats to the winners. We liked this game to be at 39 points. When we were talking about it, it was the under for the game because the over-under was at 39.5. So we thought the under made sense because New York loves 39. But again, New York and 39. I just gave this lesson on the streets of New York City. I'll give it one more time. In the most simple cipher, the abbreviation for NY. N's the 14th letter, Y's the 25th. NY is 39. In the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, New York is 39. If you do NYC for New York City, it's 39 in reverse. And if you write out New York, comma, NY like you'd write it on an envelope, it's 39 in reverse with numerology. And again, the United Nations, 39 floors tall there. The first governor of the state was born in 39 on a 39 date numerology. His name is George, which is 39. His last name is Clinton, which is also 39. A reminder that Bill Clinton was born Bill Blythe. His biological father died months before his mom gave birth. She remarried into the Clinton family. And next thing you know, Bill Clinton's governor in Arkansas, president of the United States, and Hillary's senator in New York. But again, the Yankees won the World Series in 39. The World's Fair was in New York in 39, and a million more things. And just another 39 in the world of sports, which we've documented 1,000 of in the 9 years we've been here, because there's so many with all the New York sports games. Again and again, they'll pay tribute to this number. But notice how they stop the clock at a minute 11, and they also stop the clock at 39 seconds while there's 39 points on the board. Again, look at New York again. In the most simple cipher, it's 111, like how September 11th leaves 111 days left in the year. And with numerology, it's 39. You know? And Daniel Jones, again, that most pure cipher. Dallas equals 13. Daniel Jones got his 13th home loss. Number 13 fell down at the end of the game. But, again, I mean, the reason I can't think it's all organic is because of how manipulated things so often are in the news, and also just sports. You can just see how they keep it on the script, the bogus and bizarre calls, the decisions that make no sense when it's right at the cusp on the over-under, and you can tell that Vegas must have phoned into the sideline and said, yo, there's too much money on this side. You make sure not another damn point scored in this game. So... the Edward Snowden thing. We've talked about this before. It's nothing new. I've been talking about the same thing because Edward Snowden's been ducking out in Russia for all these years, right? His full name is Edward Joseph Snowden. And just notice, in the most pure cipher, 87. Notice also the 222. It just reminds how everything really popped off on February 22nd this year with Russia-Ukraine. But again, Russia in the most simple cipher is 87. So... those, again, when we first started, we wouldn't even have seen the reverse thing. And that's I was pointing this out, years ago when I only knew these two ciphers. But now he's a citizen. And something else that does stand out is, let's see, where did I write it at? If you write out Russian citizenship, which he was given, it equals 95, and so does Snowden, right? And... again, I mean, there are people in the world who will have nothing to do with the Jesuits whose name Gematria might be 95. His name's also 94 forwards, like Roman Catholic Church. 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. But I mean, it's possible it's a coincidence, but again, just over the years, there's just been so many perfect rituals in the news with Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, and again, at some point, you got to say, like, why does the media just continue to follow them around, even though their stories have kind of gotten stale, and there's so many other things they could report on in the world, but it always just stays on the same group of characters, and the character stories always seem to be so on script. You know what I mean? So people will say, but it's good that he shined light on these things. I don't disagree. But over the years, there's always been, the Pentagon Papers and these types of things. And really, to me, it just looks like it's all part of the system, right? Because it gives people hope. Man, Edward Snowden's about to change the world. Julian Assange is about to change the world. Donald Trump's about to change the world. No, Ron DeSantis is going to change the world. You know what I mean? Bernie Sanders is going to change the world. Dennis Kucinich, Ralph Nader, Ron Paul. Excuse me, allergy sneeze. Must need to dust. But yeah, it's just like they got to give us the hope, man. It's part of the system. A little entertainment here, a little hope here, a little sweet tooth here, a little salty here. Really nice tasting coffee in the morning here. It's a system that just keeps people going, okay, it's good enough. I'll do it again. I'll get up and do it all over again today. Oh my God, I hope whatever they're talking about doesn't fall down on me. Oh my God. I can't believe more people, I don't know. I don't know how people don't realize it. Like, I noticed when I was a kid, if you just turn off the TV, all the fear and paranoia goes away. Man, you turn on that news, it's got all kinds of fear and paranoia, and oh my God, this might be happening that could really be affecting you. And it's just like, I'm just going to go outside. It is a lot better out there. Okay, other things in the headlines. By the way, this is the TFR makeup show because, again, I did not mean to skip TFR tonight, but just the moving stuff today ended up being, I hate moving. Yeah, it was just like a headache and a half today, but it made my day run longer by a couple hours than I anticipated, at least a couple hours. So I got home too late for TFR. But we'll make it up. We'll get Rambo on, and I want to talk with Derek about the organic side since he's become part of the 20-second car crash thing, and he's convinced that we're living in something that's like a computer simulation. So again, I don't think it's quite that, but that's why we're going to have the conversation. So anyway, in the news also, they're saying the most fascist, far-right politician in Italy, where the Vatican is an independent city-state. And don't forget who made the Vatican an independent city-state. It was Mussolini himself, but they're saying this woman's the reincarnation of Mussolini. And what jumped out right away to me when I just started to look at this is, well, okay, this also stood out to me. But the first thing I noticed was she's 45 years old. And I said, come on, man. That's what year Mussolini was killed, at the end of the war, in 45. Wouldn't it be funny if you just went out and surveyed the average American? What year did World War II end? I guarantee you some will be off by so far it'll blow your mind. You'll be like, really? They thought it was that long ago? Or way more recent. It'll also blow you away. They'll be like, was it 1984? You're like, come on, man. 84? Are you serious? Anyway, but in addition to her being 45, and let's not forget ritual equals 45, and again, for this forwards and backwards thing, when Trump, I didn't understand this as well because I had not found out reverse gematria when Trump was president-elect. Maybe Sweet Lady's up. I heard a big bang. But anyway, and can you guys stop going, Sweet Lady equals 33? Yeah, so does the word person and people and society, and nervous. Again, I hate when people leave comments like, Sweet Lady equals 33. I think Zach's a Mason. It's just like, okay. You have a point when you can point out that Masonry, Secrecy, Order, Federal, they're all 33, and there's a big Masonic building in the town that has 33 columns that are 33 feet tall, but when you hear the song on the radio by Tyrese called Sweet Lady, and you like it, and you call your lady a sweet lady, that doesn't make you a Mason. And for making that assumption, what it does make you is a different word that starts with an M. It's a moron. But anyway, when Trump became president-elect, and it was called in the early hours of November 9th, 119, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, it was the 27-year anniversary. It fell in 89. That happened on the 27-year anniversary, 2016, and as he's called 45th president-elect. And again, in that most pure cipher, Berlin Wall's 45. And in reverse, it's 63. In 2016's the 63rd triangular number, which is the year that, again, he became president-elect. And it's also the year the Cubs broke the curse, and Cubs has that 63, as well as 45. And 45 is the 9th triangular number, and Major League equals 45. And Trump did the commercial talking to Digital Sheep 11-9, wearing the same suit and tie that he wore for selection night years later when he became the rigged president. But again, he says, looking good, number 9, looking good to the sheep. And then the last sheep says, where's your dignity? And then we get Trump a month after the Billy Bush tape leaks, where him and Billy were talking about the way they like to pick up women. And Trump's talking about how he doesn't care if the women are married. If he wants them, he's going to get them. He likes to take them and seduce them at the furniture store and buy them a new love seat. Anyway. This news right here, this news was from September 26th. If you count September 26th through December 31st, it's a total of 97 days. And it was just, Ian has undergone rapid intensification, right? And again, just hurricane, right? So, again, weather warfare admitted to since 1952. Hurricanes also 52, like earth, like flood. And, today Tampa's getting it, and what's amazing is it's 56 days from Tom Brady's birthday. And again, the way they sync it all up, Hurricane Katrina, the Saints, year after year. The other year when Tampa won the Stanley Cup, the hurricane passed through Tampa on the same day they won the Stanley Cup. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Weather and sports. USA Today's article about me in 2017, making fun of my prediction. Here. For those of you guys who think this is, like, if you're just watching and you think this is silly, look at this. USA Today, Zachary K. Hubbard, that's me. And, whoops, I don't want my book. Where did the article go? Wait, I don't know why that's funny that article's not coming up. Here, let's see if, but that's actually not the one I want. I want the one written by Vice News. But I've never seen it not come up, so Google's trying to, well, here's the one Vice News wrote. Wacko YouTuber approves World Series was rigged. We've been proving it every year. We've nailed the World Series year after year after year. I mean, complete dominance of the World Series the whole time I've been here. But this year, they were making fun of me for writing about 52, weather warfare, and how we predicted the Astros to beat the Dodgers in August. And, again, he says, that start coincidentally was 52 days before the start of the World Series. The first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Harvey was Matt Harvey, exactly 52 days before the start of the World Series. And this is back in 2017. I'd already been talking about these patterns a million times up to then. I've talked about it a million more times since. But, again, it just takes the quote and makes fun of all the 52 stuff, talking about weather and rig sports. So, again, that's why we've realized you got to run it forwards and backwards. Hurricane is 52 forwards, 56 in reverse. Tom Brady's birthday is August 3rd. Oops, not 2020. 56 days after his birthday, right? And what else is interesting is this is the 103rd NFL season, and when they started covering this, it was Tropical Storm Ian that was threatening Florida. And you see how Tropical Storm Ian has the 103 in it? Again, the 103rd NFL season. They've been paying tribute to this number all season. We've been killing with this number, taking advantage of the rigged football games. We liked Miami to win against Buffalo a lot this weekend as a nice underdog because Tua could get to 10-3 at home, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was 10-3 at home. And again, we've just been seeing that going on all season. It's the 103rd NFL season. Been talking about this a lot. But Tropical Storm Ian, initially what it was, threatening Florida. Now it's hitting Tampa. And you know what else, you guys? It is 56 days after Brady's birthday, but you know what else it is? It's also his 57th day of his age, which is interesting because that is the Super Bowl number this year. So, again, these are the things you got to pay attention to. If they pay tribute to this same number, you just got to pay attention. If they keep paying tribute to a number and a player and a team, you start to catch on. You go, you know what? I think that might be what they're trying to tell us the championship game is. And sometimes you can figure it out sooner than later. And, but yeah. Here, let me show you another one. I think it's this one right here. Yeah. Look at this. So CNN, you see how they emphasized the headline, Ian could be something that we haven't seen in our lifetime. You see how they emphasize something that we haven't seen in our lifetime? That phrase equals 201. And why does that matter? Again, weather control. JFK gave a speech on weather control. You see how weather control is 177, 69, and 201? Look at the Jesuit order. The Jesuit order, 177, 69, and 201. Let me type in weather control again. You see the 75? Look at New World Order, 75. That New York Times headline from October 6, 1940, a date with 75 numerology about how the New World Order was pledged to the Jews. I forget what roast it is on Comedy Central, but one of the roasters says to the guy that's getting roasted, he goes, if you were any more Jewish, you'd control the weather. And then they all bust up laughing, and it's like, how's that even funny? Like, if somebody else said that, the news would be like, that is anti-Semitic. But I don't even, it's just like, if you were any more Jewish, you'd control the weather? What's that about? But Lyndon Johnson, again, Lyndon Johnson, who followed JFK. JFK gave a speech about weather control. And then Lyndon Johnson said after JFK, who controls the weather controls the world. The Royal Air Force admitted to weather warfare on the date August 15th, 1952, which is the day the Jesuits were credited in Paris, France in 1534. But 1952, August 15th. And again, weather control and the Jesuit order, right? The last pope, or the pope that was in office when JFK was killed, his name's 201. And for the record, so is Catholic Pope. And so is Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. And Jorge Mario Bergoglio, who's Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. He's 201, the first to live in Suite 201. But with regards to the weather control 201 thing, earlier this year, Wyoming got wasted on the day leaving 201 days left in the year with the flooding at Yellowstone, Montana, Wyoming area. And there's been a number of other things that are slipping my mind right now because there's just too many things on my mind because I've been too busy. But remember JFK, his weather control speech, it was on September 25th. And I want to say it was 1961, actually. Double check the year, but the speech was on September 25th. I think it was 61. And the Agenda 2030 conference recently began on September 25th. And also, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down was put out by Public Enemy on September 25th. And it showed the Valentine State, Arizona on the cover. And the Valentine State is Arizona because its birthday is Valentine's Day. Using a few things in that cover, we were able to predict that there would be the Valentine's Day blackouts throughout the nation, likely blamed on weather, for Valentine's Day 2021, which was 100% correct. And it was also 142 days after the album came out, and that album, or Valentine's Day, can be written 14/2. And for the record, that is a special number 142. It's a lot of things, but notice it's also in the word gematria. Again, gematria, the killing name. A lot of people froze to death because of the unprecedented cold in Houston. And you had blackouts from Portland to Houston to Atlanta to other places in between. It was worse in Houston and Portland because they were blacked out for a week. Portland was actually more than a week. It was like 8 or 9 days. My sister had to stay with my mom, and they didn't even communicate the whole time. But remember power outage. You see how it's also got the 5652, just like Hurricane? And that album came out 56 days after Chuck D's birthday. Chuck D's the frontman for Public Enemy. And we just asked Flava Flav on the corner of Times Square what it was all about, why he put out an album called What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down. And he gave me these eyes from the side like, oh my God, Get this guy away from me. And the guy came in there with a big old gold Star of David and just shoot him out of there. And, but man, come on, Flav. You're the guy who gave the New World Order speech and he got game soundtrack. Now you can't answer the question about what you're going to do when the grid goes down? Why would you make that your album cover? You guys know something. Your album is damn synced up. The funny thing is, Flavor Flav's probably seen my work on that album and what happened in Houston. He just didn't put it on his social media like CeeLo Green did for when Jonathan and I covered the Goody Mob Cell Therapy music video. And what's shown at the 56-second mark, and what's said in that song. But yeah, these rituals, you guys, just coming back to this, the reincarnation of Mussolini as a woman. It's 253 days after her birthday that she supposedly wins the election. That's the 22nd triangular number, which means if you add 1 through 22, it equals 253. And the most pure cipher, Italy's 22, right? What a perfect day for her to win this election in Italy, to create this international headline of, things are getting crazy in Europe, as Russia's a threat again. Just history recreating itself ritualistically. And by the way, the election was on a date with 56 numerology. Something else that I noticed was interesting is that it was 83 days before Pope Francis's birthday, this election. It's Italy, right? The word election itself is 83. And the name of the treaty that made the Vatican an independent city-state that came out of Mussolini, the Lateran Treaty, it also has Gematria of 83. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And by the way, the Jesuit priest who tutored Mussolini, look how he was born in history, March 18th, and died in March 19th, the day after his birthday, in 56, right? 11 years after Mussolini. That means he died right after his 95th birthday. Or no, hold on, am I doing bad math? No, that's right. He died one day after his 95th birthday. A Jesuit priest dead one day after his 95th birthday. The Jesuits credited account of the 95 Theses, the rituals. Again, we were talking about baseball, right? Fauci, 95. Throws out the first pitch. Garrett Cole makes his debut at the Yankees in that game, gets his 95th career win after being signed by the Yankees on the 95th day of his age. And again, it's just Judge. Judge hits the home run today, the day leaving 94 days left in the year, which means that after today, there's 94 more days, which also means that if you count today through December 31st, it's a total of 95 days. So Aaron Judge does the home run record, 61 years after Marison 61, on a perfect day for a home run record, 94-95. Ritual. All is number. And speaking of numbers, numerology. 11, the master number. It's another number that's abused in the news. Most of the numbers we talk about, 29, 38, 47, 56, 65, 74, 83, 92, blah, 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 they all break down to 11. But notice this story in Russia. This was the same day that Putin gave Snowden his citizenship. At least 11 children among dead at school shooting. And this story was 11 days before Putin's upcoming 70th birthday. Birthday is October 7th, the same day we invaded Afghanistan after 9/11. And again, Osama was a CIA asset who was the leader of a CIA-funded organization that was supposed to stop the Soviet involvement in Afghanistan. And I'm sure the Soviets wanted Afghanistan for the same reason the U.S. did. The poppies. Drug dealers have always controlled the world, man. Addicts are easily exploited people. And see, that's why if we could actually get real knowledge into the minds of people, parents could understand, more parents could understand why you got to wake your kids up to the evil forces. It'll give them more determination and willpower to fight things that need to be fought in this world. There's a lot of things that are very tempting that can create a lifetime of suffering. So, some people get more easily addicted to certain drugs. And opioids are highly addictive to almost everyone. I've never put an opioid in my body, and I will never put an opioid in my body. And, I had a friend that got into the whole oxy thing one time, and it was hard to get him off it. And I was always trying to be a good influence, but stuff's addictive, and people like the feeling. But I started to read a lot in my late teenage years, and I read about nutrition and drugs that, are okay to be experimented with, and ones that you should probably stay away from. And that advice has served me very well, I would say, in this lifetime. And otherwise, maybe I would have tried out an opioid. Maybe I would have become an opioid addict and never reached my potential. I don't know if I've reached my potential, but again, you got to work hard to reach your potential. The point is, what I figured out in this world and presented, I know good and bad to all things, but ultimately, this knowledge, if enough people acknowledge it and help spread it and show what's going on and the games that are being played with us and the way our time's being wasted and manipulated, things could change for the better, There's a reason these psychopaths are writing the same thing in the news every day. And the thing about the news is how often will they change a number? And then just the way they'll write it too. They'll write things like at least 93 missing. It'll be a headline on the day leaving 93 days left. And you're like, come on, man. At least 93 missing. So you don't even have a specific count, but you got to write at least 93 on the day leaving 93 days left in there. And remember, Aleister Crowley worshiped the number 93. His occult teachings, very prominent in the world of entertainment and music, which is a reminder that people do study these things and worship these things and pay tribute to these things. So it's not all organic. But there's a reason they do it too, and that's what the organic side reveals. So the world of the occult, it's like a soap bar in a way. It's like you can see it and you can grab it, but it's hard to hang on to because it just is. It's soap. What else would I? Oh, yeah. One of the stories they had, right? The CNN, as this storm was making landfall, one of the stories they put up was hundreds of Chicago-based energy workers will help with power restoration efforts after Ian. You heard a lot about Chicago in the news after Katrina, too, and it just makes me think of Led Zeppelin. Speaking of people who study Aleister Crowley, Led Zeppelin has the song When the Levee Breaks, and then Chicago's part of the song. But you know what else is more important than that? Naomi Klein, who has a good book out right now, she actually had a really good book that I read years ago, 2007. I read this book when it was new. It's hard to believe it was 15 years ago. But she talked about the Chicago School of Economics and the concept of disaster capitalism, right? So, and that's what I always explain with this weather warfare. All wars are bankers' wars. When this storm comes in and wrecks an American city, and what will happen? Think about the policy. The politicians will declare an emergency. The rest of the politicians for that state will help write the necessary legislation to borrow money from a central bank, and with an agreement that the taxpayers will pay it back with a bunch of interest. And again, when you have the technology to influence and make storms more devastating than they need to be, which I'm very confident they're doing, and it does seem that they also have a way of steering the storms. We've seen how they'll just stop on a dime and then go on a whole new path like it did with Harvey to make it flood on the most perfect 52-date numerology there ever was, plus the 239th day of the year, the 52nd prime, plus the anniversary of Stevie Ray Vaughan's death, whose best-selling album was Texas Flood. Again, Harvey flooded Texas. But you can see where the motivation is. If destruction makes you money and you control the keys to the apparatus that can make these things possible, and you don't really care about the people you govern over, which I don't know how anyone could think our politicians care about us at all. Look how they'll all come together so fast for God knows how many tens of billions of dollars for another country. But look at all the American cities that have just been devastated, and neighborhoods in American cities that have just been devastated for decades, and seemingly nothing for them, And that's not even the only proof. It's just the policies. There's all the stuff they do. I mean, the way they lie to us. Anyway. It hit Cuba on the big Jesuit day. Don't forget Fidel Castro, that big threat for all those years with the nuclear scare. He was Jesuit-educated, Castro. For the record, from the day that Castro shook hands with Pope Francis to the day he died was 433 days later, which is the 84th prime number, and Jesuit equals 84, and Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope and born on an 84-date numerology. And then from Castro's death to the death of his son, which was said to be a suicide, was 433 days later, the 84th prime. There's a lot more to it as well, but this hurricane smacked Cuba. Oh yeah, and then on the same day they're talking about it smacking Cuba, they're telling you that this company in Chicago sending all these people to help out. Look, ComEd 95, right? 95 again. Jesuits, a military order, technologically advanced, running the world of big tech, government, media. You know, are they alien? Are they alien? Are aliens helping out them? I mean, you guys will ask me questions like this. I don't know the answer to these questions. You know, the only day I'm going to know if they're aliens or aliens are helping them out is the day I see it with my own eyes. Or, yeah, I guess that's the only day I would know it. But again, that movie with Roddy Piper, They Live. If you haven't seen They Live, huge Jesuit fingerprints all over that film in every which way. But again, his tweet about how They Live is actually a documentary, he did tweet that on September 27th. Don't forget it. And then he died on the anniversary of the death of Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. Okay. King Charles, they released his new Royal Cipher. And I thought about that. Royal Cipher. Man, we know a few Royal Ciphers. But I'm sure there's a lot to be seen here. The fleur-de-lis and the Templar cross on the crown makes me think it's anything but Catholic. And CR, the third. 318. C is 3, R is 18. 318. Remember, that's the inverse of pi. There's 318 mentions of the resurrection in the New Testament. And, God, there's something with the sun and its measurement in 318 that I forget. But also just the third, it just makes me think of the Trinity, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Christ, Christmas, Christian. And they unveiled this on 26/9, like 269, the 57th prime number, which was also a date with 57 numerology. And again, England's 57. The Queen dies on the opening day of the NFL season, Super Bowl 57. The Queen City Buffalo wins. So his new title, Charles Rex III, equals 77. It was also a date with 77 numerology. Again, that's what the CR is for. Charles Rex is a word for king. But 77, and you see the 140 as well. Remember, Queen of England equals 140. And I did predict at the beginning of the year Queen Elizabeth would die on the 140th day of the year, but instead she died 140 days after her birthday. Should have thought more about that Mary thing. I probably would have stood out. Makes so much sense in hindsight. But yeah, I had a feeling that 140 would be significant in the death. And now you see it even in his new name. Charles Rex III. And how perfect it all is. 77 on the 77 date. 211's the 47th prime. Again, 47 is just a number that's representative of time. And 85. While the Pope's 85 and the whole thing's synced with the Pope. She died on the Pope's 266th day of his age as the 266th Pope. Again, the Jesuit motto is Sus Hominum Salvator. For the record, the word Christ is also 77. Just going with that CR sound. Okay, yeah, and yes, I did see on Monday that NASA's DART mission slammed into the moon, and it was a success. But again, the Monday's named after the moon. I didn't look into it too much, but again, on the day leaving 96 days left in the year, Freemason 96. Again, Freemasonry takes pride in the fact that nearly every NASA astronaut has been a Freemason. So, this happened in the 44th week of the mission. Notice where Freemason is 96 in the most simple cipher, space is 44 in the 44th week of the mission. That happens. What else is kind of interesting about that is the word Cancer's 44 in astrology. Cancer's ruled by the moon. You know, the moon landing was in the time of Cancer. Neil Armstrong. Armstrong's 44 in the most pure cipher. Again, his full name, Neil Alden Armstrong, is 201. The moon landing July 20th, the 201st day of the year, in 69, where the astrological symbol for Cancer looks like 69. But yeah, anyway. Let's see. Oh, another 8. If it's not 15 in Atlanta in the news, it's 85 in Atlanta in the news. And Interstate 85 runs right through Atlanta. Remember, National Football League equals 85 right after the Falcons lost with a 25-point comeback on 2-5 to Brady in Super Bowl. And Falcons equals 25, by the way. That was the 97th NFL season, the 25th prime. But right after the Falcons lost, then Interstate 85 collapsed in Atlanta, and they blamed it on a crackhead. Crackhead pipe burned down the freeway. They got away with reporting that. And actually, as I say that out loud, does Atlanta, Georgia? Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia is also 85, right? And notice they want to build a giant 85-acre police and fire facility near Atlanta. Notice how police department is also 85. But yeah. I mean, just the rituals and numbers. Like, it's not organic. It's not organic. This isn't organic. You know what I mean? You can just see that it's not organic. Ugh, it's so manipulated. The freeway falls out and they blame it on a crackhead. Come on, man. And again, we said all these years in advance why John Madden would die at age 85 because of how important that is to National Football League 85. Names like Brady equal 85. But now in the 85 city, I got to just forget this, right? Sometimes when I do a post these days, because I'm just so short on time and I'm rushing around, I'll forget the most important thing, like Atlanta, Georgia equals 85. But yeah, you can just see they're paying tribute to the number. And Atlanta's not far from the 85th meridian either. It's on the 84th meridian, so the 85th isn't too far away. 84.38, it's halfway through that. Okay. So that was another thing in the news that I just thought I should point out. And by the way, yesterday, the Rosh Hashanah, they blow that horn that they called the shofar. It's funny that this year Rosh Hashanah concluded on September 27th, which is the day leaving 95 days left in the year. And the big story again for that day is that they're making it seem like Russia, with their military, purposefully sabotaged this pipeline that could be a huge climate disaster. And again, just all these narratives, how all these narratives come together. Again, you guys, right now they're trying to get the world to see that there's this great threat from the environment that could destroy all of us if we don't take some drastic changes. And now not only do we have to contend with that, we got to contend with coronavirus. We got to contend with Putin the psychopath. But all of these narratives are all feeding into things like climate change and why we need less rights and liberties and why we should be more and more afraid of everything and probably just stay inside. And God, everything's so expensive. You wouldn't want to go outside and walk anywhere and burn a calorie. You might actually get hungry and you can't afford food right now because we're keeping diesel prices through the roof. And by the way, we think there should be less of you, so you might want to try out being a homosexual or transgender or, I'm Joe Biden and I would like to federally subsidize you cutting off your little wiener. And you haven't even gone through puberty yet, but you're all caught up in our news media. And you guys, for all of you who think it's so evil what's going on right now, it is. But realize it's been evil the whole time. They were doing stuff that was not quite as bad as having us cut off our wieners when we were little kids, but they've been doing stuff that's really evil and we just haven't seen it because we like it so much. The way they market junk food to us as children. And you see it in the stores, like the parent who hasn't figured out how to get their child on board, the child that's having the tantrum because they want that sweet thing off the shelf, but the parent doesn't want to shell out another $7 for a bag of sweets or whatever it is. Plus, they probably know it's too much for their kid. But then the kid's having the tantrum. So often I see it in the grocery store, and you see it's the sugar tantrum. It's like they're already a young little addict. But again, they get us. They market all this junk to us as children, and they got us in so many vicious cycles. But we like it because it tastes good, or because it's fun, or gives us a burst of happiness when we get a present every year for our birthday, or I don't think any of this stuff is good. You start to wonder why every American has so much stuff, and some Americans have so much stuff they even have to rent a storage space or 2 storage spaces, or I've met people that have multiple like different storage spaces in different places in town. I'm just like, how much stuff do you have? God, how much are you paying a month to hold your crap? But I'm proud to say I've never had a storage space in my life. I know some people get them for other reasons. There are other reasons to get a storage space, but you just see how they do it to us, because they just get us in this idea from a young age that you always need to be buying and giving gifts for these holidays. And I'll tell you what, is I've just been like clearing out our garage. The reason I have so much stuff is like I feel bad about some stuff because it was given to me as a gift, and it's like I never really needed it, and I was like, maybe some rainy day I'll need it, but it just gets tucked away in a box somewhere, and it just sits there in a box. And it's like I've been donating everything because I'm like, you know what, this stuff has been sitting in a box, and I never really liked this shirt, and it's just time to give it to somebody else, So stuff, we just feel so compelled to give people stuff. It's just our cultural thing, but the stuff ends up weighing us down, and then we put so much sweet stuff in our mouth, our body starts weighing us down. And it's because this lifestyle, it's been given to us because it's very profitable for certain people, not because it's good for us spiritually or for any reason, really. It just creates this vicious, nasty cycle. But because we haven't recognized it in the past, I started to recognize it a long time ago. I got to be honest. I started to realize the whole consumerism, it was all part of this big, ugly system. But I always used to wonder, like, how bad will this get? This is what they do to us now. Where will they take us to? And I mean, we see where it is. It's now where you got Joe Biden saying we should federally subsidize, transgender surgery. And yeah, a young person wants to, I mean, it's just sad to think in the future how many young people will do these things that will regret it not that far down the road. They'll have it's just, but that's what our society's always been: exploiting young people, planting seeds in the minds of young people, and putting them on a very bad path. That's where we are. That's where we have been, and it's just getting worse. But yeah, again, if you got here late, and the main thing you wanted to hear about was again Coolio. Again, if you're new here, I've been teaching about this thing. I've written in 2 books and talked about this same subject. I've made them both free to download as ebooks. The shaming and ritual killing of black entertainers predominantly, but it's also black politicians. And you know what? Sometimes it's just even just black people, period. But just the same pattern with 59. 59. And when the 59 date numerology comes around, we see this again and again. Today has 59 date numerology. Coolio's dead at 59. Slave, Negro, Rasta Blues, all 59. Motown came out in 59. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. And just the whole thing about Gangsta's Paradise. And again, he's dead on the day, leaving 94 days left in the year. It Takes a Thief, his first album, came out in 94. LA's his city. Remember, LA's birthday is September 4th. Shout out to King Henry, who had his birthday earlier this month on September 4th. But anyway, I just see like the Gangsta's Paradise, just like right now with who's running the show. It takes the thief as they thieve from all of us with all of their planned, coordinated rituals, using their big mass mind control devices, the news and the screens. Isn't it just so annoying, just like having the radio on and the disc jockey comes on and you just wish they put on another song. He's like, hey, by the way, if you guys want to support Ukraine some more, there's this charity going on. It's just like, that's why nobody knows about anything. It's just all the same information, constant focus, same rerun of the same song, same message. Oh, you're going to say something and talk about Ukraine? I mean, it's just, it'd be amazing to see how much money's been stolen from people who donated for the right reasons. Like they just see on the news like, oh my God, I want to help those people, but where is all this money really going to and being siphoned? It's going to the real gangsters, the ones that give Coolio the record deal. And when it's the full-on gangsta takeover of the New World Order, next thing you know, Coolio is dead. I think it was like 48 hours ago, I was typing about Coolio in Yeah Right the Matrix's chat because I saw how another YouTuber referred to Yeah Right the Matrix as Coolio simply because Yeah Right asked him to come out and pound pavement with us like a year and a half ago. He said, yeah, you got to support this event. And then the popular YouTuber said, yeah, whatever, Coolio. It's just, this truth community, man, there's so many frauds that have been promoted by the algorithm who've clogged up the pipelines and sucked in all the dummies. And you see just how many dummies they are because they continue to argue to this day, oh, you're wrong. It's like, nope, I'm definitely not wrong. I haven't been wrong, and it's pathetic. You still can't see it. But anyway, it's a sick game, man. It is a sick game. And here, I'll tell you another story from this community from doing this work for all these years. Again, there is an organic side. I don't know if you cast magic spells into the language and associate 59 with black people, if it brings a curse to them every single month. I mean, it's possible. Some people are thinking this is more along the lines of what's going on. But to me, a lot of this stuff looks like very horrible manipulation. And but I got to bring up this story right here. So Joe Toffelmeyer died on September 27, 2011. Former NFL player. He played for the Seattle Seahawks. He was the 44th pick of the draft. Fateful number. Words like kill, cancer, chemo, execution. They all have that gematria 44. A lot of suspicious deaths in history in connection to 44. Again, MLK killed on 4-4. Malcolm X killed on the date with 44 numerology. His assassin's name, Charles Hagan, equals 44. He got 44 years in prison. Anyway, he was number 44, and if I'm not mistaken, he wore 56 for the Seahawks, Society of Jesus 56. Again, he dies on the big Jesuit day, September 27th. But his sister follows my work, and sometimes she'll leave a super chat. She has the same last name. She goes by her name in the chat. And, you know, years ago, she wrote me an email and said, hey, my brother was a Seattle Seahawk. Could you please decode his death and look into it? Because this happened in 2011 before I started this research, so I had not covered it before she reached out to me. And what she told me is, you know, she was there when he died. He just fell very ill and died rapidly. And she wonders what really happened because it was just so fast. But I think, you know, we've never had the clearest conversation about it. But I think she's hinting at that she thinks that it was like some kind of spiritual wickedness or like a spell that hit her brother the way it happened. And I mean, again, spells, spelling, cursive, curses. It's possible. But again, so is poison, and people do kill people, and the psychopaths are now even making movies like in TV shows like Utopia about billionaires raising children to be mass killers, and you know, and the whole Jeffrey Dahmer new show that just came out, they coded 201 all over it. Again, his apartment's right next to the Jesuit University. Marquette, you know, Chris Farley, Tommy Boy starts at Marquette. He's taking test number 201, missing the question on John Hancock and the 56 signers. Here, let me check if Joe Toffelmeyer's jersey was 56. I think it was. Yeah, he was number 56. He played in 33 career games. How about that? You know, just like how the 33-day Pope went to bed on September 27th and then never woke up again, pronounced dead the next day. And a lot of people believe he was killed with arsenic, which again equals 33 in the most pure cipher, and is the 33rd element on the table. But, yeah, maybe I'll reach out to Mary, and if she wants to talk about this more, we can. But she just always knew something wasn't right about it. But I know that she did tell me that, like, the day he died, you know, he was in bed, and, you know, as far as she knows, not really anyone. I think she said she was there, maybe her mother as well. I forget the exact circumstances, but again, she just knew it was wrong and weird. And I'm going to reach out to her and see if she'll maybe, you know, be a part of the next TFR episode or whenever she could do it, because we gotta talk more about this stuff. And, you know, maybe somebody will hear her talking about it and be like, wow, you know, that sounds really similar to what happened with us. But yeah, you got to say, I mean, we know how powerful this number is, 56 to the Jesuits. He dies on this most Jesuit of days. The fact that so often when we're seeing this, the players who died prematurely, we're seeing the draft pick number and we're like, come on, man. The numbers that are associated, it's like, again, good and bad to all things. Hermeticism, everything carries a vibration. That vibration can have a real world impact on you. If we start finding out like just the number 44 can have more bad than good connected to it, I guess that's something to be aware of, right? If it's real that just that number even being around you can cause harm. But again, all things, there's a good side to 44 as well. Here, I'll just, for people to forget, like the good side. The word hope is 44. Remember Obama, number 44, ran on hope? You can make an argument that hope's actually a bad thing. But faith is also 44. You can make an argument that faith's also a bad thing, but it's also a good thing. Karma, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, karma is another 44. There's more to that list, but I forget. But again, all things good and bad. But yeah, R.I.P. to Coolio, R.I.P. to Joe Toffelmeyer, all the people that we're constantly talking about, dead by the same old patterns. But and notice the other thing about Joe Toffelmeyer, he was 46 when he died, right? Catholic 46, sacrifice 46, Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. Here, let me see something real quick. Grant Fiesel also played for the Seahawks. He was number 54. Remember, Jesuit orders 54 in the most pure. Like Cable 54 is the enemy of they live. Dead on a 54 date numerology. Oh, he was dead. He was dead less than a year. Oh, because these guys were on the same team together. Here was my post. A woman called my radio show and asked if I could look into the death of her family, Joe Toffelmeyer. So she called into TFR originally, and then there was more correspondence. Yeah, that's another thing about his death. He died on his 82nd day, 82 days after his birthday, and again, Seattle's 82. In the base ciphers, it's also 44, like he was the 44th pick of the draft. And if you count the span of days, he died on his 83rd day of his age, and again, football and murder are 83. And I was making the point how if you use the numerology rules, Society of Jesus is 83. How did I miss in this post? Well, I had Catholic. How did I miss in this post that his jersey number was 56? Huh. I should have it pointed out that Society of Jesus is 56 there. Oh, by the way, you see how murder is 79 and so is Society of Jesus? Coolio, he is dead on a date with 59 numerology. The date numerology today is 59. It's also 79. If you add the 20 part as well, it's 79 going with murder. Woo! Another sneeze. Murder in Society of Jesus. And he died 57 days after his birthday. His birth name, Artis Ivy Jr., is 57. His full name, Artis Leon Ivy Jr., is 95, the reflection of 59. And again, if you count today through December 31st, it's a total of 95 days. So... Oops. Let me see. He died on a date with 67 numerology, which is the 19th prime number. Seattle's the only 19th city in the most pure cipher out of major cities in America. And Joe Toffelmeyer is also 67. Sacrifice in the square cipher is 927. I forgot that one. Oh, I did have it down here that Society of Jesus is 56 like his jersey number. I don't know why I didn't put it up above. He was drafted in 89. I don't know if I made a point about this or not. He died on the day leaving. Or the other guy... Or no, that was his birthday. That's what it was. I just want to see if... This was a big post, man. I went thorough on this. 131 days from the Super Bowl. Okay, but the thing about just the whole Society of Jesus ritual and him being drafted in 89, remember, the gospel, the story of Jesus, is 89 chapters. And that's the 11th Fibonacci number. And they say the Fibonacci sequence are the numbers of God, which is named after an Italian, like where the Vatican is. But Jesus is 11, right? And then the word religion is also 89. in the most simple cipher. Just like King James, who has the Bible named after him. You know. But yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's gross how people don't care about knowledge and information. Same stuff going on every single month. Okay. Since I missed TFR, we can take some calls. We'll go for we'll do an hour of calls. I haven't opened up the phone line yet. It's not going to be the regular TFR 213 number. It's going to be the 509-560-4982 number, the cell phone. It's not a call board. But if you call in tonight, make sure, don't eat up all the time because we're only doing an hour of calls. Let's try to hear at least from 10, 11, 12 different people tonight. But if you can add something onto the topics we discussed tonight, that'd be great. If there's another big story that happened in recent days that I overlooked because I was busy or something that you think needs to get covered, that's great. But again, try to make your call somewhere between 1 to 5 minutes. And I always think the most effective calls and the people whose calls are probably remembered throughout the show are the people who just call in and just like one really great thought, boom, 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 or great question. Because sometimes people will come in great and then they'll start rambling into different things. And I just think people lose focus. And I could even be guilty of that in the way I do my streams sometimes. But shout out to Mr. Scott. Let me thank the super chatters before we open up the phone line. Thank you, Mr. Scott. He chipped in $10 and said, "Good to see that you have recovered from the trip. The grind never stops." Yeah, it's just that I have to move. It's just like, oh my God, moving. Like, what's worse than moving? So I wish we were not moving. Thank you, Sammy Tori. She chipped in $2. I appreciate it very much. Mike Rawson chipped in $2. Said, "Thank you, Zach, for everything you do." Jennifer R. chipped in $10 and did not say anything, but thank you very much for your donation. Truth Vibration Podcast gave some more taco money and chipped in $5 and said, "Rihanna playing in halftime show from Brady's birthday to her birthday is 201 days. She's part of that Umbrella Academy too. Her birthday 8 days after the game. Brady can win his 8th Super Bowl." Very interesting. And Rihanna, you bring in that point about Rihanna and Brady. Again, remember, Brady's born 201 years after the U.S. was established. After his last Super Bowl, he met with Biden on the 201st day of the year, which is Gisele's birthday, also the 201st day of the year. ESPN wrote the article about him, The Road to 201 Wins, where he got his 201st career win over the Rams, the team that equals 201 in Jewish Gematria. And, of course, his first career win was against Indianapolis, the 201 city. But, hold on. Rihanna's name is hard to spell. Hold on. How do you spell it? Is this the right way? Hold on. All right. I just wanted to show you this 201 documentation about her and becoming a billionaire. All right. She became worth 1,201 days from her August 4th birthday. She's got the same birthday as Obama. And again, 201 and 84. The Jesuit order equals 201 in reverse, 84 with numerology, right? So she enters that billionaire status. Her birthday is on the 51st day of the year, the old Rome number. All roads lead to Rome. But yeah, she's in the club. And again, her Umbrella song is right. It's synced up with the Umbrella Academy. And again, the Jesuits use the umbrella. But see, notice how the word umbrella is 84. But the Jesuits use the umbrella as a symbol because you can only take an umbrella down from within. That's the Jesuit thing. Infiltrate, take down, reshape within. That's the art of war thing, translated by the Jesuit priest. Again, there's no proof there was ever a Sun Tzu, but there is a Father Amiot who translated it, and the Jesuit logo is the sun. And a lot of this stuff has been stolen from the Far East. Okay. Yeah, we can take some calls. And again, since we're making up for TFR, I do plan to connect with Derek and Rambo very soon. And LAF, could you do me a favor? Could you send less emails per day? I mean, I'm just already overwhelmed. I know I appreciate the enthusiasm, but it's just every day it's a lot of emails, and I just don't have time to keep up with all this. All right, let me open up the phone line. All right, it's 509-560-4982 if you want to call in. Again, try to keep your call between 1 and 5 minutes. Oh, shoot, hold on. Shout out to Mike Rawson and Niall Overton as well, who also chipped in tonight with Super Chats. I almost missed those because there was no comment. But thank you, Mike Rawson and Niall. 417?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you ever heard about the fact that a guy named Tony Bryant, who is Kobe's cousin, was involved with the Michael Skakel, Martha Moxley deal.
I don't know about this. I'm looking it up.
Okay, I saw it on a Dateline show, and it had that Kennedy, the one that's still around.
Okay, I'll look into this because I got the story up here. So now that it's on my radar, as soon as I get a minute, I'll look into it. So this happened back in 1975 in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it. Yeah. You take care.
Bye.
Here, real quick. She died 45. She died 75 days after her birthday in 75. Again, very Catholic number is 75. Kobe died in a big Catholic ritual on the 41st day of the Pope's age at age 41, traveling from Catholic Mass. What's up, 347?
Hey, how you doing, Zach? It's Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, I was going to just touch up on, just really quick about some of the things that we worked on, when we was in the Army. It's not classified or nothing. About the weather warfare you were speaking on.
Uh-huh.
So when I had deployed, right, I remember when we first talked, I told you about those kind of like 5G towers.
Yeah.
So when I deployed to every location like Jordan or Kuwait or something, those same antennas will only be on the area where the troops are stationed at. But when you go out into the local area, you want to see those towers. And I remember late at nighttime, the Air Force would bring in those weather planes that would fly around, the one that you see for the ads that would come on to talk about how they would go monitor the weather. They would come in every night at the same time and refueling the area. I used to go run at the time, and I was and I remember at the same time around about between the hours 12 to maybe 2:30, you would hear this loud buzzing, ringing tone, and you would get really dizzy. And I was I thought it was just at Fort Stewart, but that same dizziness feeling could be felt in multiple places where you find the towers. And I remember every time that would happen over a period of time, it will always kind of rain or some weird weather anomaly would happen. And it will all say for instance, you about to go for PT or something, it would just, before you even get 6:30, the weather would just clear up. And it happens every time. And I always thought something about it. I'm going to look more into it, Zach, give more information on it. But those towers are always no matter where the military goes, those towers are always in the area. It's always going to be there. So I was thinking that maybe those towers actually does have something to do with to help them control and manipulate the weather. So that's all I wanted to touch on. I've seen them overseas as well, the same 5G looking towers.
Well, I appreciate you calling in and sharing that. Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. You have a good night. Okay. In the chat, King Richard TV says he also died September 28th, the 271st day of the year. Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly. And you know what else about that? Oh, you have it right there. Yeah, you followed up. 271 is the 58th prime, and he died for the... If you guys wonder why so many people have wrenches in my channel, whenever I see somebody just leave a great comment, I just have to give out a wrench. So, some people are very generous with super chats. I feel like have a wrench, And when you have a wrench, then you can share links. Just don't ban people too easily. That's the only problem with giving away so many wrenches. Some people start banning too quickly. But yeah, exactly, you guys. So it's the day leaving 94 days left in the year. His first album in 94. His big song, Gangsta's Paradise. 271 on the 271st day of the year. Yeah. Man, isn't it something how they do it? And it's like it could all be calculated, right? It could all be calculated the day he signed his life away in 94. They're like, he'll be 59. He'll be 59 in 2022, and this would be just right on September 28th, 2022. Or some kind of sorcery. But if it all has the same intent, that's... Excuse me. Well, I guess we're low on callers. We're doing TFR too late. Normally we're not short on callers on TFR, but... Yeah, it is the 271st day of the year. In my post, I did have the Gangsta's Paradise 271, the 58th prime, and him dead on the 58th day of his age, but I was sleeping on it being the 271st day of the year. Let's fix that. Man, these people, man. Or is it that, like, when the people created all this stuff, the language in the calendar, is it that they cast a spell with these kind of planned intentions? I don't know. That can be part of what you call in about tonight, too. 281?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
A while back, I recommended a book to you. It was a long time ago, though. It's called Rulers of Evil, Useful Knowledge About Governing Powers, written by F. Tucker Saucy. And in that book, he talks about how the Jesuits have influenced this country and how they're behind the scenes in a lot of things. I highly recommend it for you and your audience. One of the things that he makes note in his book is that they communicate through signs, symbols, and allegory. And gematria is one of those references by which they identify themselves. So your work brings that out, and I was hoping when I recommended that book back a while back, I even sent you a PDF copy of it.
Here, yeah, I get buried with to-dos that I never get to. That's the problem of being one person. But here, one more time, the book and the author?
Okay, Rulers of Evil.
Rulers of Evil.
And then the subtitle is Useful Knowledge About Governing Powers.
I see it. Okay, so this is the book.
The author.
I'm gonna put up here for Bruce.
You'll get a gig. It'll add so much to what this is all about. One last point. There is no contradiction, and your audience should be aware of this, between what you teach about gematria and the Bible, because in Revelation 13, it says the number of the man. He's identifying who that Antichrist person is, the number of the man and the number of the beast. Okay? So if it's a number of a man and it's not the number of God, then it has to be identified through sign, symbol, and allegory. And gematria is one of those tools. So if you take a Roman cipher, Roman numeral cipher, and you take Vicarius Filii Dei and do that in Roman numerals and add all the Roman numerals in that, it'll add up to 666. So there's no contradiction between gematria and the Bible identifying what the rulers of evil use to identify themselves. The Bible even tells you that. So people who are true Christians or real Christians should know that. And if they studied their Bibles, they would find no contradiction in that. It doesn't mean that you have to believe in it. That's a totally different matter, okay? In terms of using it for yourself. I mean, in terms of your daily practice. It just means that this is how these people identify themselves. And that's all you've been saying throughout your, the last 10 years or so.
Indeed.
This is the language this is the language they speak. This is how they identify themselves. This is the rituals they use. It's sometimes repetitive, sometimes it isn't, and you've been pretty consistent about that.
How much of this do you think is organic?
Dude, I could go for an hour about this, but I'll say just one quick point. I ran my parents' birthdays, numbers. Dude, it's sick. There's some relationships that are just unbelievable. Or like ex-girlfriends and their numbers and the times that you were in their life together. It's amazing. The organic side is pretty powerful, and the only way to really appreciate it is to run significant names of people in your life and look at the numbers and run your own names and look at the crossovers and patterns.
Yeah.
It's or do something like your girlfriend, one of your ex-girlfriend's names, and the man she loved, her name, and see what that number comes out to. And if it comes out to the day you were born, or something like that, you're like, oh man, this is scary. It's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
To what extent I think it's just as powerful. I don't think it has any less weight, but I think it's a more of a personal thing though, on the organic side.
Yeah,
that's just how I see it. I don't see this great universal application on the organic side.
So for the person who asked this question, since there's organic things, how can we tell what's not organic?
Well, I mean, you point that out almost every day. I mean, you're showing how gematria is ritualistically used, especially with rappers and other pop stars and celebrities. And
so you essentially agree with what I'm just, because people, I'll present this stuff and then people leave comments all the time in the chat like I haven't talked about 1,000 times. So I'm like, well, maybe somebody else has a different opinion that'll resonate with these people. But yeah,
your body of work is so extensive. I mean, you're beyond an expert. I mean, because for an expert, you need 10,000 hours. I think you're a little bit beyond that. So you've seen these number of patterns play out over, a big span of time. And so you can see how they're ritualistically used. I mean, some of the deep dives we've done, especially with 9/11, I've learned more about 9/11, even though I had a very good body of knowledge with that. Before I heard your takes on it with Gematria, but the depth to which they did that whole thing and set it up ritualistically and how they did it over 33 years. It just wasn't like, okay, next month we're going to do it. This happened over a span of 33 years, and even before that.
Right.
So you got to ask yourself, what are they planning next, and when are they planning it? And I think you've identified at least one significant pattern, the 19-year moon phase pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably some more.
Of course there are. There are.
So, it's the fact that they can ritualistically use it means that they're godlike, and that's what they want to appear like, godlike. They want to appear godlike to the simpletons, and they do appear godlike to the simpletons because everybody refers to them as they. You put they in the gematria calculator, see what you get.
58.
Yep. So, that's all I really had to say. I just wanted to, make that quick recommendation.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I'll look into this. I'm going to make a point to start reading more because I used to read all the time, and the time I've been doing this work, I haven't made any time to read. I think I need to get back to reading.
What you can do with that, if you have it on PDF, just put it in your browser, and if you have a reading, there's a tool you can have it read to you while you're doing other stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I do a lot of times.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
So you're not, just stuck with if I have to do other things when I read, even though I intently listen. So, it's just a recommendation.
Yeah, that's smart. I'll do that. All right. Appreciate it, friend. Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.
Right, yeah, take care. Yeah, here's the actor they got for the new Jeffrey Dahmer. And again, 201's huge with the Jesuits. Jeffrey Dahmer lived right next to Marquette. And the actor's Evan Thomas Peters, 201. Born on January 20th, 20/1, right? I'm sure the show's just full of whoppers. But yeah, this is Amy2 Crack Their Code. Her website is cracktheircode.org, spelled there the right way, THEIR. Cracktheircode.org. Shout out to Amy. She gave a super chat and linked this article, and she's doing a lot of great work right now. She's very active on her blog. Awesome work, Amy. 771.
Hi, Zach. I have an organic observation regarding your New York trip.
Okay.
So remember when you were at Yale and you were educating about the skull and bones rituals, and I think if I remember correctly, you had brought up The Skulls, the movie.
Right.
And you were talking about the actor from that movie.
Right. Paul Walker.
What was his name again?
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker. Get this. Check this out. You know, guess whose birthday it was that day that you were doing that?
His daughter's?
No, it was his.
Oh, it was his birthday. Oh, God, that's right. He has the same birthday as Andrew Luck, September 12th. Wow, I didn't even think about that while we were there.
When you were, I was like, he's at Yale Skull and Bones talking about Paul Walker, and it's Paul Walker's birthday?
I didn't even think about that. That's weird. What else is weird is when Derek and I met for the first time, and we met at Marquette because he lives in Milwaukee, but then Derek looked up later and he found out that was the anniversary of the death of the founder of Marquette. It's like, how weird is that?
Yeah, I caught that. You had mentioned that on a prior stream.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If I may, I'd like to add on a little bit about my personal thought about it.
Okay, yeah.
So what I think is going on there, like to explain the synchronicity, would be that obviously Paul Walker, whatever happened to him, it was some dark stuff. Whether he really got off or if it was a stage scene, but then he's out of the the character leaves the stage. Either way, they made us feel like sad. Like a lot of people took that. A lot of people liked him. So like you have been talking about recently with the organic side, like how there's a balance, how like the bad side will have an equal good outcomes like somewhere else in the world, and it kind of ties in with the crash theory like you were talking about yesterday. Well, I think that you are the good, organic repercussion, because you're like educating, like almost like invigorate, like getting revenge. Like you're like exposing what really happened, and so that's like your role, and that's like how you are playing your role in the whole thing.
Well, it could be. I guess that's like fate and destiny kind of thing. So,
I mean, those Yale students seem to really be taking it in.
They did. That was the most success I ever had at a college campus. LSU was really good too, but I was at LSU for a lot longer. I was there for several days. But yeah, the Yale students, I mean, we didn't have any bad interactions. So.
Yep, I noticed that. I'll wrap it up here. I noticed that the Yale students were like the most, like you could tell they talked. They didn't talk so much. They were more. You could tell that they were listening. Like they were really calculating. Like they had the intelligence to like understand the implication that was you were bringing to them.
I'll tell you the one time I made the students uncomfortable, and I felt kind of bad about it because it was a group of younger girls. But I was just talking to them about the Goatville killings because they were next to the campus right before Tom Brady was declared the GOAT in light of American football being credited to Walter Camp, who went to Yale Skull and Bones. One of the girls' faces, I don't know if it was captured on camera, but she just got this look. And then it was, after that, they were like, and I was like, oh yeah, you guys got to study and stuff. But I felt kind of bad about that, but at the same time, it's like they should know, so we're not reading about them in the headline next.
Yeah, I get both sides of it. I get where you're coming from. Like you are educating them, and it's just like if we were to hear about a girl, missing from Yale, we would already be like, yeah, we already know what this is all about. So who knows? Maybe who knows how the shit was lined up for them. Maybe they get saved. They just have second thoughts about, going to that frat party or, who knows, whatever. But then I also see it from their point of view, like they're girls. So, how women, they're more emotional. So I always feel like men take better to the knowledge. But
well, in
either
hindsight,
way,
I should have told that thing about the Goatville killings to a group of guys instead of a group of girls. But the girls were good listeners, and then they were following along. And I think they still got my point, but you could just see that the creep factor, the creepiness of the story, it set in, and I could tell it was a good time to let them go. So.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to hold you. I just wanted to share that with you, man.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the thoughts. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Yeah. You have a good night. Take care. Yeah. If you guys missed us at Yale, man, and other people got on that stream too. Ocho from the Ocho. People. I still need to go back and listen to when Ocho from the Ocho was hosting, but I just saw all kinds of comments about how much people liked when Ocho was on, and it's a long video at Yale, but again, a lot of seeds planted, a lot of positive conversations. And it was nice knowing that it's like, man, these are the intelligent people, and the intelligent people really get it. This is good for Gematria. What's up, 248?
Oh, hey, Zach again.
Hey.
Back to the Coolio. I just want to bring up one more thing from the Coolio story.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear, guess how long his song Gangsta Paradise is?
Well, I did see the YouTube thumbnail was 4:02, but is that the actual length of the song?
Well, I went to Wikipedia, and it says 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
Oh, it's 44. Okay, it's 4:04. Okay. Yeah, the other.
Yeah, kill equals 44.
And just to remind people, for people who are new here, in the most simple cipher, kill is 44, but in Jewish gematria, kill is 59. So, yeah. Interesting.
Okay, that's all I had to input.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, I mean, just, all the hip hop music on the West Coast, not so much Coolio, but just all the gangster stuff. Dr. Dre's song "End with a Gun" starts with 44. 3-6 Mafia has 44th Street Killers. 650. Hello, you're on.
You talking to me?
I am.
Oh, Zach, it's Jennifer. Oh, I can make more sense talking than writing.
Are you the same
no,
one giving the super chats? If so, thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, no, I've been here before. I am the one that missed. Oh, my phone. It's like possession. Anyway, on my phone, cell phone. Listen, I have a question. I've wondered. It comes to mind sometimes. I say, God, come on, give me an answer. What the heck was Trump put in there for then? Did any numbers show you what the hell he was doing? He quit. He didn't call in the military, did nothing. Nada. January.
Well, again, I'll remind people what I said. I was up in the middle of the night when they called Trump the president-elect November 9th, and I put out a video, and I said, okay, guys, here's what I was pointing out.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Again, I was pointing out how he was the 45th president and how Holy Bible is 45 and how the warning and the end of the Bible are trumpets and you have the trumpets ticket. And, he was talking all this big stuff about Israel. And again, I was just talking about the whole Revelation theme. And I said, expect something, biblical and bad in the time of Trump because he's also going to be president in 2020. And for years, I've been pointing out how it'd be real bad news in 2020, 19 years after 9/11. And the 19 hijackers, it ends up being COVID-19. But remember, just Revelation teaches about 666. So they simulated that pandemic 666 days earlier. The first case in the U.S. confirmed on 121 when Revelation's 121. So I was telling people that there'd be this biblical bad thing for the nation in the time of Trump. I think I was dead on about that. I wasn't exactly sure how they would do it, but it ended up being the virus. And that makes sense because that's one of the biblical themes as well. So that's what I think Trump was about.
Why did he do some good things?
Well, you got to do some good things, otherwise you won't have any support. You got to make people support you.
But even during the presidency, when he's already there, so that all the political hurrah or hoopla, trying to critique and find things to, it's like they want to get rid of them, but they're all part of the same team, right?
They're all playing their part on the stage to manipulate us and keep them in power and us under their control. That's how I see it.
No. What I'm asking is, when he was in power, Trump, so there, it was always this talk about the media and everybody's down on him. So, but they're all part of the same team, right? All those guys at the time.
Right. They're all on the same team.
Trump, so they weren't really unhappy with him.
No.
They're just playing a part.
No, that's why it's a joke when people think the media, if the media was against Trump, he wouldn't be on TV. He's on TV more than anybody since 2015 when he announced he was running. He gets more media attention than anybody I've ever seen in my lifetime. All press is good press.
Yeah. Two bulldogs pit against each other, but of course more than two. Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, HD's Quality chipped in $5 and said, all gematria is organic. It all forms the forbidden tree of knowledge that evil forces mask with ritualistic values to mock us and our Creator. Well, it's a thought. I really don't think it's all organic, though, because, again, it's like the headlines they do every day. At least 93 missing on the 93rd day of the year, or et cetera, et cetera. There's a million examples like that. Like, to me, that doesn't feel organic. It feels like, like how secret societies are aware of these numbers. They're praising these numbers. This is how God operates. They want to be like the Most High, so they're doing it in the Kabbalistic tradition. There's obviously a very organic side, and that's where the power is. But then I just see that I can't say that all gematria is organic. Case in point, here's bulletproof evidence that not all gematria is organic. Both of my book titles were purposefully chosen based on the gematria encoded in the title. It's the only time I've really ever used gematria, but the point I did it is to say, like, you can encode these numbers if you want to. 954?
Exactly. You can encode these numbers. And I want to say a perfect example from tomorrow's Thursday night football game, the Dolphins and the Bengals. Last time Tua and the Dolphins played a game on Thursday Night Football was 11-11, and he played the Baltimore Ravens, and Vegas won that day when the Dolphins won 22-10. And from that day, November 11th, 2021, to tomorrow, September 29th, is exactly 322 days.
Yeah.
And, the Dolphins have that Yale coach, so it's perfect. And
yeah.
Bengals' record on Thursday is 9-7, and Dolphins is 9-7. And the stadium that they're playing in for the Bengals, it equals 223 and 97. So I don't know. It's all rigged. All rigged. I don't think there's an organic side, but I do think there's an organic side, but I think there's also a rigged side. I don't think you can. I think it's ignorant to say that there's just only organic side after all this that you've shown and everything like that.
And I think also the thing about just this, I'm sure you saw the video I did on all the car crash stuff on the 22nd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To me, what that shows is, like, it does seem that somehow out of our gathering, that it seems that this is somehow connected. But again, if everything's an energy and a vibration, it's like us coming together. It's like, my theory is that us coming together created this schism type of thing, but there is like forces in the world that don't want it to happen, and in a way some of it bounced back at us and caused some misfortune for some people in the group. What's your take on it?
It's almost like manifesting and almost getting a collective power to do something, and I think that's very powerful to all focus on one thing maybe, and that we're so dumbed down by everything, it's hard to focus, and you need to dangle a bunch of keys in front of everyone's face to just keep their attention. So yeah, it's hard and it's crazy. I do want to say for the organic side, like my first name is Nicholas. It equals 81. My birthday is August 1st, and my mom, her birthday is February 18th, the 49th day of the year, and my grandma's birthday is April 9th, like 4-9. So it's like things like that. It's so perfect that there is an organic side, and it's just crazy how this world works.
Indeed. Well, I appreciate.
I just want to say, wait, one more thing, Zach. Your sweet lady, I know she does like medicine and everything like that in a more natural and nature way. My mom, and I think a lot of women have an overactive thyroid,
is there anything that she could take or do even to reduce that?
Well, I'll ask May tomorrow. May will probably say she needs more information, but I'll ask her like what do you do for an overactive thyroid? I'll see what she says next time you call in. I'll have an answer.
Zach, I watch all your videos. You could literally say it anytime during your video. I will watch that. So
okay.
Just say it anytime. Thank you, man.
Okay, I'll ask her tomorrow. All right, have a good one.
Thank you. Take it easy. Bye.
Overactive thyroid. I've heard that before, but I have no idea. So maybe she will. She probably will. I mean, the good thing about her schooling is they studied a lot about the human body, and they actually taught them a lot of good information about nutrition. It's just, but then it's funny how when they get to the actual field of work, they don't, like, it's not even a part of the picture talking about nutrition. It's like you're just supposed to skip that whole part. So a lot of the students in her class who are smart, they're like, what I actually learned is why you shouldn't take any of these drugs. 559.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up?
I just want to say, I guess I showed my 94-year-old grandma. She's really slowed down the past few years, but I just showed her a couple light things, like the 74s with the Jesus and all that. And she's like, oh, well, I'll be darned. Like, she gets it. Like, she's like, yeah, there's definitely something there. So if a 94-year-old, like, woman who can't function.
Well, that's a reminder that at age 94, your mind can still work pretty well. So if you take care of yourself, you can live a long time in this world.
Yeah. Also, I want to ask, when did you really hone in on the 201? Was the big number
20? Again, for those of you guys, it's another weird story because I was in New Orleans educating. I was at the LSU campus educating about all the people who died in that town for the year that LSU beat Clemson to start 2020. And it was at the start of the whole COVID thing. The pandemic wasn't declared yet, but some people in the airport were already starting to wear masks and whatnot. And when I got into New Orleans, I checked into hotel room number 201. And to that point, like, you'd go through my old work, I have like 5 documentations of 201 from 2016 to 2020. So I wasn't really focused on it. I'd noted some things that were interesting, mostly with Tom Brady. But I just checked into room 201, and then somebody started blowing up my cell phone that I needed to research event 201, and it was a number that I hadn't gotten any text messages from before, and it gave me the creeps in a big way, because I was like, this is weird. I just checked into room 201, and now I'm getting text messages. It was like 10 minutes after I checked in. Text messages to research event 201. And again, the guy who was sending those text messages, when I got back from New Orleans, he actually came on TFR, and that's another story. But anyway, I started looking at 201, and I realized how important it was to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, just from going through old notes and then just doing some more research. And that's when it dawned on me all of a sudden that Pope Francis was the first pope to live in Suite 201. And we've been researching it nonstop ever since, trying to understand it more and more. But yeah, it was the beginning of 2020. So about 2.5 years now of researching 201.
And for all the new people, I just want to go through the real important 201s with the Pope. So the Jesuits were created in Paris, France. And Zach, correct me if I get anything wrong. The Jesuits are created in Paris, France. The first Jesuit Pope is Pope Francis. The last French Pope was the 201st. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, equals 201. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the first Jesuit Pope, equals 201. He lives in the Domus Sanctae Marte, 201, in Suite 201. He's born from Argentina, and on Argentina's flag, it has the Jesuit sun, and he's the first Jesuit Pope. And the Jesuit logo, IHS, stands for Jesus Hominum Salvator, which equals 266, and he's the 266th Pope. And also, I want to add on Netflix, they've had this movie, Sing 2, in the top 10 for the longest time, for like probably 6 months. There's never been a movie in the top 10 on Netflix for longer. But on the movie cover, it's an animated kids movie, and on the movie cover, it's got the animals standing in front of a pyramid, and on the pyramid, there's a number, and the number is 201, and the Great Pyramid of Giza equals 201, and there's 201 remaining layers of bricks on the pyramid, and the pyramid is associated with the Illuminati, and the Order of the Illuminati equals 201, which was established by a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, and he died 201 days after the anniversary of the establishment. So
Indeed.
I think I hit points. I think I can remember off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, and then as you go over more, you'll remember more. But, I mean, if you told that all to somebody, you definitely make them think about it. So, yeah, that was all correct.
Yeah, but, yeah, all right.
Well, the other one you could chime in is just because everyone's familiar with the pyramid on the dollar. That's from the Great Seal. And, again, that was requested on June 13th, 1782, the day leaving 201 days left in the year by the U.S. Congress with the pyramid on it.
And there's 1,201 now.
Well, great work, man. Keep it up.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care. Hey, you guys are doing better than on TFR. The callers everybody's keeping it 1 to 5 minutes. These late night callers are good. What's up, 559?
Yo, what's going on, Zach? It's me, Richard.
What's up, Richard?
I haven't called in a while.
This is Richard, the Great Decoder?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I changed my name to King Richard TV, so it's easier to find me.
Okay, King Richard TV. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not putting it in your chat there. I'm gonna go over this really quick, but I don't know if you know who Weird Al is. Weird Al Yankovic. He's the rapper that makes the parodies.
Well, he's not a rapper, but he's a musician that parodies everything.
Right. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, he made a parody of the song by Coolio, Gangsta Paradise, called Amish Paradise.
Uh-huh.
And that song came out, according to Wikipedia, it came out on March 12, 1996. And if you just take the anniversary of that song coming out to the day that Coolio died today, it's a total span of 201 days later. So.
Wait a minute. What's the 201 is from the anniversary of that song?
Yeah, the song Amish Paradise.
Yeah, his parody.
Wow. Yeah, 201 days, a span of 201 days before this guy's death. And what's funny, it also comes 201 days before Martin Lawrence's birthday. He's born April 16th, and he was the first one to honor Coolio.
Huh.
So I find that interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, his show was set in Detroit, Motown.
Yeah, so figured I'd keep it short and sweet, but yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it there, man.
So King Richard TV's now the YouTube channel?
Yeah, King Richard TV.
Is there spaces?
Well, it's not the new YouTube channel, but
is there spaces in it?
No, it's all together. It's all one. It's all King Richard TV.
All together, okay.
Yeah, all together. So it's easier to find me that way instead of just typing in Richard and trying to go through a bunch of channels.
Huh, it didn't come up though.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, you got to put it all on. Yeah, all together. Yeah, there you go.
I ended up putting it all together, but it didn't come up.
You got to go through channels. I think you have to go through channels. Let me see.
No, I put the filter on channels. It's probably because you discussed Gematria. They're making it hard to find you.
Yeah, they're probably censoring my stuff, man, or shadow banning me, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what they do, man. It's like if you put Gematria, it puts your channel on a bad path real fast.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Or I get
Well, what's a recent video
strike,
subject you did? What's a recent video subject you did?
Let's go to my channel here. Let me see. Because I cover a lot of stuff. So, you can type in Miles Garrett involved in car crash. Maybe that might pull something up.
You saw it yesterday, and they let him out in the 95 ritual.
Yeah, and he wears the number 95. Yeah.
Here you are. Here you are. Yeah, I'm sub now. Okay. All right, here, I'll put your link in the chat. But yeah, they're making your channel hard to find. So.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. We're on a delay, so yeah, now I see it. So.
All right, that link I just put in the chat, everybody, that's Richard's channel. All right, man. I appreciate it, Richard. Keep it up.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, have a good one, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, see you, Richard.
Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate it.
510, you're on.
Hey, what's up, Zach? This is Bamboo. Just wanted to say what's up.
Hey, Bamboo.
How you doing? How's the move going?
Moving sucks, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah. So I'll try to make this fast. It was good to see you make it out to the New York trip. That was awesome, and everybody there, big up to that. Wish I could have made it, but hopefully next year.
You were there in spirit.
Yeah, I was there in spirit. And it looks like there was a lot of good energy there. But R.I.P. to Coolio. I remember him in the 90s, man. He was like one of my favorite rappers for a while. But a couple of key things that I saw just on the surface. Hurricane is 52 and 56, just like that rapper in the same site.
Huh.
It's kind of interesting just on the surface. Aaron Judge today, with the Roger Maris 61. If you type in Bronx Bomber, that's one of their nicknames. It's a 56. Kind of interesting.
Okay.
They say heart attack, cardiac arrest. Is that what they're claiming? How he died, Coolio? It's always shady how they.
I was actually just reading the CNN article looking for a cause of death. So they didn't make that.
I saw one that said cardiac arrest. So, and somebody else said they saw cardiac arrest or heart attack. But you type in heart attack, you get a 108.72. We know those are big numbers. Sun Worship 108, Jesuit Order 72. One other thing, you type out 59, the age that he died at. You get a 108, 54, and 45. We know those are pretty key as well. 45 ritual, Jesuit Order 54.
Right.
So kind of interesting.
Just with regards to the whole 59 thing, the CNN article says he sold more than 17 million records. Again, 59 is the 17th prime number.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting, too. And another thing I wanted to say, there was an Oakland shooting today, a school shooting. I haven't really looked into it at all. Happened a couple hours ago, I guess. But I guess like 6 people were shot. I don't know if anybody died.
School shooting today in
and
the
then
news.
another. Yeah, you might want to check it out, Oakland.
Okay.
And the last thing is maybe I guarantee, there is a manipulated side and there's an organic side. But maybe one way to look at it would be...
Today is 13 days before Gavin Newsom's birthday. His birthday is October 10th, and Oakland's 41, the 13th prime. So again, all the shootings in California have been synced with Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, that's interesting. So they're pushing this, again, in the Bay Area. And I don't know. I haven't really looked into it much. And even if I did, I don't have that eye and that straight knowledge that you do. I'm still learning. That's why I appreciate what you do. And everybody in the community as well. Keep it up. Appreciate it. And I'll let somebody else call in. Bless up, everybody. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, appreciate the heads up. And in time, you will be able to do just that. It just takes a little more practice. All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's why I appreciate what you do, man. Keep it up. Thank you.
Yeah, will do.
Peace.
All right, have a good night. You know what I found out about where I'm moving to? That town's so small, it's not even wired yet for high-speed internet. But they have Starlink in that town. I don't know what they charge for that. That's that Elon Musk service. At least it's credited to Elon Musk. It might be a good experiment, though. We'll see what happens on old Starlink. Watch the censorship be even worse. DK Stonewood's been trying to get in, but his timing's just been slightly off. Let me call DK Stonewood. He's got something to say. Old DK. Yeah, of course, Bamboo. DK, you were trying to get in.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up, man?
Fell asleep there momentarily.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, what's ringing? Oh, it's my phone. For a second there, I thought it was the alarm in the morning. I'm like, no way already. So we're being ruled over by gangsters who are now by pirates who are now on land, become gangsters. So we're in a gangster's paradise on a fantastic voyage on the unholy sea, and being ruled over by numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3 of his songs right there, wasn't it? It's like all of his popular songs.
Yeah. And that video game's coming out on November 8th, Skull and Bones.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta look into that. What it looks like on the screen. What's that? Is that a card game or it's like an action game?
Video game. You're a pirate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I just want to make a couple comments on stuff that you talked about, that you were just talking about in the last, like, I don't know, maybe it was yesterday, just kind of like driving, talking about. Do you remember when I talked about the Hunger Games inauguration, and we looked it up and they were all in the outfits the same as the people in the movie?
Yeah.
Did I forget to mention that Kate, what's the last name of the from the British royal family, Kate, the heck is her last name now? I can't think of it
I forget too.
What?
I forget as well.
Yeah, well, when she presented her her baby to to the media or whatever, that she was dressed in the same dress from Rosemary's Baby that Rosemary wore. Did I mention that?
I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah, that was another one. One thing you just mentioned you were talking about herbs, and you were saying there was this ad where a guy is like hanging from monkey bars or whatever, and he's talking about this herb will make you shredded or something. That's that guy, that's Vince from V Shred. He's just a model they hire, but that particular company is known to be the biggest fraud, just to let you know, like in the body.
Well, that's not a surprise because their advertising is nonstop on YouTube. I wouldn't suspect anything else. So
yeah, there's guys literally that have almost whole channels like dedicated, like, let's stop V Shred. Like they're sell a shitload of products apparently, to people who are gullible. They don't look into it but there's people who actually get their products and they look at all the ingredients. They're like, this is just trash. You could get way better stuff,
Sure.
And claims that he makes are just retarded. Did you know Dwayne Wade hosted a game show called The Cube?
Yes. Yep.
Did you ever see that show?
I don't think I've watched it, but I'm aware of it.
I was at the gym the other day, and I had to stop to watch it for a second. I'm like, it's so corny and just terribly scripted. It's just like a total homage to the Saturn cube. The cube is, he's like, oh, you're gonna get beat by the cube, like, and it's blue, and then when you go in, it turns red, and then those are the two colors. And then the game starts, and they're like such stupid games for like adults. It's like I'm like, what the hell? They just created a whole fake game show to do this, and then he's dressed in a blue outfit, like a blue suit with a weird black stripe going across. It looks like Judge Dredd or something. Sure. It's very strange. And then if you win, then it turns yellow and gold, like for the solar plexus chakra, I guess, the color of God, gold or something. I don't know. It's very strange. A while ago you were talking about somebody like getting dementia from too much like aluminum buildup in the brain, the metals or whatever.
Uh-huh.
From my understanding, that's Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is like what happens to you physically, dementia is actually like when you're losing your connection to your astral body. That's why I call dementia, like dimensions, so like either your astral body's dying, which like I guess astral bodies allegedly live like from, like 10,000 years. So sometimes your astral body will die, and before you rejuvenate another one, you won't you won't reincarnate again, because you'll be the astral plane is the emotional plane. So like you have the physical plane, and then the ether would be like the energetic plane, and then above that you have the astral plane, which the emotional plane. So that's why they're so like disconnected. They have no emotion, because they're disconnected from the emotional plane of their their personality. So that would be more of like an actual natural thing happening that didn't happen to them from like the metals and the stuff from the like pharmaceuticals. That, from what I understand, that's Alzheimer's. And then they try to say it's like dementia or whatever. But people before the pharmaceutical industry and all that, they knew it was dementia because, there wasn't all these toxins, like just say take it like 200 years ago or so. So, yeah. And then you were talking about, I don't know if this was a reaction. You were saying about somebody talking about being baptized, or you being baptized like in the water or whatever. Like, and, my understanding of that is, you're being baptized into the unholy sea when you do that, because you already got baptized by your mother's water when you come out. And then that's your first baptism for babies. But then the baptism for adults is you have to baptize yourself through the fire, not like, some stuff for babies. Let me see. I'm trying to read this right now in really dim light. Oh, you were talking about like the diets and stuff. Like this was, I think, still writing down stuff here about after that V-Shred guy you were talking about. Like the sugar, from what I understand, sugar, and I've proven it through helping other people and myself. The sugar in the fruit isn't bad. Like, let's just say you're like a very, very overweight person, and you just eat a shitload of fruit. You're not gonna
I agree. I again, the sugar in fruit is not the same as the highly refined sugar that's in candies and sweets and bread and all that. Yeah, that's 100% true. But still, I still think ultimately, like if because the majority of Americans already have too much sugar in their diet, so the fruit on top of the sugary diet, I think it does add to the sugar surplus. That's why it's better to eat more vegetables for the people whose diets are already rich in sugar.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like if you were gonna replace some of the sugar with sugar from fruits, you'd still
much
be
better
way
for you, of course.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, there's a woman who lives on our farm in Costa Rica who's a frugivore. She doesn't really. I mean, vegetables are, green fruits anyways, really. But like she wakes up, she eats 30 oranges. That's her like breakfast or whatever, and then kind of just rinses her mouth out so it doesn't like all the acid doesn't like eat up her teeth or whatever. And she's like, I mean, you could see like every vein in her like stomach. She doesn't have a 6-pack, but like, I mean, there's no like water retention on her or anything anywhere. And pretty much all she eats a shitload of fruits though. Like, 30 orange. I mean, I don't, maybe if I had a contest, I could, but that's a lot of fluid. Like I eat like 3 oranges at a time, and my whole stomach is like bloated because of how much water is contained in that, So, another thing you were talking about is the, like how like we're in the quickening and like time is going like faster, and, is it really that way, or is it just because like it's a percentage of how long we've existed and a percentage of our, so the other night, I was explaining to Jeff Young after he was sending me flat Earth stuff, and then he said he was kidding. So I don't know if he really is kidding or not. He said I was just trying to mess with you, but I was trying to explain to him. He was saying nothing's spinning and all that, and I'm like, it's related to time. So like back when all the records were vinyl, if you were like listening to, I'm sure they were around still when you were young, right? The vinyl records, your parents maybe had some.
Indeed.
So like what, remember watching it play, you if the needle was like on the very outside, it's making big old turns around basically the whole like circumference of the record on basically very close to the outside. So it's covering like a lot of distance, you know?
Right.
And then if the needle's on a song that's like way on the inside, like close to the label, it's covering a lot less distance, and it's like spinning faster. But the thing is, the song is still, it's not like when you're listening to the song on the very outside, it's like at normal speed, and then when it's like the one near the label inside, it's like all sped up like that. It's at the same pace because it's recorded with that in mind. So this is like the same thing that we're experiencing, right? And then, okay, to finish that thought too, so there, when you have the record, it already has all the information on it. Like, let's just say it's like, 7 songs. Like, I think the Beatles have, 7 studio albums, all with 7 songs on them. So 7. But let's just say, there's 10 songs on that thing. The information's already encoded on there. And like, you give it to somebody, they don't just hear the 10 songs all automatically. They have to put it on a player, and then the player starts spinning it. And then you start hearing like the time elapsing on the record going through the song. So without spin, there's no time. That's what creates the time. Is the spin. That's why everything has to be in motion. So like, the way that like how clocks work, there's a bunch of spinning gears. If you see some of those like fancy clocks or even watches where like the thing is see-through from the top to face, and then you see all those gears of a bunch of different sizes all turning at different speeds just to get the one that you're trying to tell time on, which ends up in the same spot twice a day as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then, to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, the way, like, we're experiencing this time right now, like here in the physical plane, like it's linear, like we can go, like, let's just say, you're standing at the goal line on a football field, and I tell you, okay, like, you could go to the 50, you could see the 50-yard line ahead of you, center field, and you could go there, and then you could see the other end zone line, and you could go there. It's just like the time that it would take you to get to each spot. If it's further away, it would just like take more time to get there. And then you could also go like side to side, like you could go to one sideline or the other sideline, and that would be like your X and Y axis. And then you could also go like up or down. I mean, you could jump maybe, a few feet, but like if you get in some type of vehicle that could take you up or down, that would be like the Y axis. But for the time, there is just one linear thing, and it's just going one way. There's the present moment that you're in, and you can't go back and you can't go forward. In that present moment, it just keeps going along the line. So when you jump into like higher planes of existence of our own existence, like if you go up, like for instance, to the soul plane, there's no such thing as time. So like your soul can't necessarily learn anything, or it's very hard because there's nothing really, everything's kind of like what you would call just like stagnant, nothing's really, no time is elapsing, no sense of time. So like, since we have XYZ here and we can move around these axes, and we only have the one plane for time, that's a 3-to-1 ratio. If you were to like flip it around to go to the soul plane, it'd be like a 1-to-3 ratio. So now like the past, present, and future are all actually going on at the same time, and you can go to any one of those times anytime you want, just like you could go to the 50-yard line or the other goal line or the end zone or up or down. But then physicality is non-localized. So you're like everywhere at all times, so that would be like omniscient, like God, so then to gain experience, we focus our, attention, or what's called the soul spark, or your soul, that's, in this case, trapped inside of like a physical meat suit that's holographic. And then it's experiencing this particular timeline, which if you look at it from another perspective already happened, so we're like in a kind of like what you would call like in a past timeline, just reliving it almost like a Groundhog Day, just to like gain experience, almost like putting you into a file, like a choose your own adventure thing, almost that's already been created, and then you get incarnated into it. But the time has already been spinning before you got put into it. It's almost like a washing machine. I think the Mayans called it like a washing machine, like 4 cycles or whatever. And then, you have the Kali Yuga, the I forgot all the yugas or whatever. So I think maybe, and then also like you have within all that time, you also have like layers. So like you have in like the Buddhic, they call it the 7 Buddhic planes. And then like the Gnostics called it the 7, I think the 7 planes of existence or something like that. In the Bible, they call it the 7 spirits before the throne. But in every religion or belief system, they talk about these 7 different, how would you call it, holographic planes of existence that are at a finer gradation, which like we have the physical plane where we're in now, and then we have the astral plane above us, and then above that you have like the lower mental plane, and then it's mixed up, different places say different. Then you have the higher mental plane or the causal plane, or they call the intuitional plane, and then above that is the soul plane, and then above that is the atmic plane, the soul. That's why we call it an atma. And then above that is the plane of the logos, or like God, or like the central suns, like the galactic central sun, or the center of the galaxy you happen to be in. But in each one of those 7, it's spinning at a different rate. So let's just say like the 7th plane would be the one that's on the very outside of the record. So like right now it seems to us that like our time is spinning fast, but from somebody viewing this from a higher plane of existence, like from the astral plane, they're like, like 1,000 years for us is like a minute. So they're like looking down and going like, oh yeah, the humans still haven't gotten their act together, the physically incarnated ones. We'll wait another couple minutes, 2,000 years. And then I look back down like, oh yeah, they're still fucked up. So like in the respect of that spiritual war going on, that's like above us, and that's how it's viewed from my understanding. That's how it's viewed from that level. Like everything's for us is happening in slow motion, but to us it seems like we're going like we're speeding up so much. What else did I have? I had this thing written down. Oh yeah, here's one for the flat earthers. So I don't know if flat earthers realize that the only folks to ever claim that the earth was flat is the Catholic Church. They claimed it once 700 years ago to give an excuse for Columbus to come over here and murder a bunch of people and take over, the land. So we end up all getting ruled by the District of Columbus and, British Columbus above us, Canada and stuff like that. And then again, they claimed it in 2015 with the CIA psyop on, with a bunch of cartoon memes. So the only twice and ever in the history of the earth did anyone ever claim it was flat. And both times it was the Catholic Church. So just so you know, that's who you're supporting on that one. Has nothing to do with, any kind of science or anything, because they already claimed it many years ago as an excuse to, obviously they knew there was people over here that they wanted to murder. So they sent somebody to be like, yeah, we're sending them on an expedition to see if the earth is really flat. What's at the end? I got another sheet. I'm kind of feeling like my throat is dry. I think I'm done on that one for tonight.
Okay. Yeah, it's getting late. All right, DK.
Kind of just passed out, and then the phone rang. I don't even know who was on when I passed out.
Sure.
Hopefully it was maybe it was a few callers. Who knows?
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you chiming in tonight, and have a good rest of your evening.
All right. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, take care. All right, guys. We've done more than an hour of phone calls. If there's anybody else who really wants to get something in, I'll hold the line open for a few more minutes, interact with the chat, and then we'll wrap this up pretty soon. But this is the TFR makeup episode because I got home too late today from all the moving to-dos. And yeah, I did not intend to miss TFR tonight. I didn't want to miss another episode because I just missed 2 recently for New York. But we're doing our best to make it up here. And it has been a pretty good show. We've had some good calls. So if anyone in the chat has anything really interesting to say, my eyes are on the chat. Again, if you got here late, we went over a lot of news. Started with the death of Coolio. Simple Truth TV staying up in the city that never sleeps. He says Coolio is on 172,000 followers. Yeah, the reflection at 271. The Jesuit motto ad Merum Dei Gloriam is also 172. Here, let's pull it up. Coolio Instagram. It's interesting, too, in the Google search, it was recently just 171. It's still there as 171, but if you go there today, it's 172. And 253 is the 22nd triangular number. But yeah, I mean, who can doubt what we've been teaching for all the... I've been teaching about 59 and Black history since 2013. With just, since I began the lesson, there's just so many more examples, and they're just so blatant. But then, like we say, it's like they'll code the 59. Again, Coolio's dead at 59 on the 59 date numerology. Slave Negro Rasta Blues. It goes beyond Gematria. Black History Month. Motown Records. But then again, just all the headlines emphasizing Gangsta's Paradise. And he's dead on the 271st day of the year when Gangsta's Paradise is 271. It's also the 58th prime, and he's dead on the 58th day of his age. I mean... And for all the people who say, well, it's all organic. Well, if it is, then that's even more reason to study it. Because if this is the way the world works, you know, could be life-saving to know what days to look out for. So, yeah, good catch, Arthur. If you guys missed Arthur, Arthur was out pounding pavement in New York City, gave some great speeches at Times Square and in front of the World Trade Center. And, yeah, I think Arthur had the same complaint as me and a few other people. A lot did come out. We're grateful for everyone who came out, but really there should have been a lot more people there. And the rain can't be an excuse. It was a rainy day. I'm sure that kept a lot of people in, but Sweet Lady, her opinion is that not enough people came out. Sweet Lady said more people should have came out. You drove a long way. I really did think we'd have quite a few more because it was just barely more than we had in Oklahoma City, and I shipped so many more books to New York than the Oklahoma City part of the country. I guess maybe people did commute to Oklahoma, though. It is the middle of the country, so that might have worked in our favor. KT Cleans a lot says, Zach, there's a Simpsons episode from 2003 that alludes to Hurricane Ian in connection with Florida. Okay, I have to go back and look at that. There's a lot of hurricanes in Florida. All right, speaking of Florida, we got a call from Florida. Florida, you're on.
Hey, Zach. So I just had I really feel like my grandpa's son got wrongfully put away for a murder case. And it was pretty big back in the day. They actually made like a whole show in 60 Minutes about it. The whole case was called the Sunset Beach Murder, and it was in California, and the guy got stabbed 18 times, and I'm sure we all know the connections with the IHS and Sun and that whole thing, and it was on October 24th of 1988, and October 24th is the
day leaving 68 days.
68 days, yeah, and yeah, a big sacrifice number, and you know, I feel like he was wrongfully put away, and it's kind of crazy. So there's so many plot holes and holes in the investigation, everything like that. And I don't know. I think it's wild. I think they put a lot of people away. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, interesting thought. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man. You take it easy.
Yeah. You too. Take care. 202 DC.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Zach? How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I have a quick question. I know it's kind of late, but I'm dating this girl right now. We've been dating for over a year now, but I looked up her numbers and my numbers, and it's really like crazy. My first and last name is 115, and she's 116. I don't know what that means. If that means anything specifically, and I'm not sure.
I see. Just almost the same number, one apart.
Yeah, no.
Well,
like
you'll know as time goes on. If numbers keep coming back and showing up, then you know something's going on there. But yeah, it is interesting the way the numbers will line up in our own lives. So yeah.
Yeah, because we've been dating almost 2 years now, and it's like we get along so well. It's like crazy, you know. Like the way we get along is like crazy, you know. It's like like we get along like so well, and it's crazy how we like get along so well. And it's like I look at the numbers and stuff, and I'm like wow, like it's crazy, you know, like how everything is synced up, you know. It's like,
Sure. And as time goes on and you look at more things, you'll see just yeah, life is stranger than fiction. So I know what you mean.
yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Yeah. You have a good night. Take care. Yeah. Again, you guys, I know exactly what day it was. It was April 7th, 2014. I'd been studying this stuff since August. And in the early days, you watch my stuff, I was always focused on 33, 47, 74. But on April 7th, 2014, 2 girls I dated in the past, one's name was Maddie and the other Trish, equaling 47 and 74. April 7th can be written 47 or 74. They both reached out to me and texted me out of nowhere. It was weird. 646.
Hey, Zach. I was just wanted to point out how Aaron Judge did it in the Rogers Center.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like, that connection.
Aaron Rodgers?
And he does it in the...
Aaron Rodgers, you're thinking.
Oh, no, I was just talking about where, since Aaron Judge tied Roger Maris in the Rogers Center.
Duh. What's wrong with me? Of course. The Rogers Center. Roger Maris, yeah.
I think that's a good way to, wake a lot of people up with that little,
Oh, you know what else is interesting? Again, home run equals 94, and today leaves 94 days left in the year. I always talk about how when you spell out 94, it equals 147, like World Series. And
Aaron Judge equals 96, and they picked up their 96th win.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, very, very great observation. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, take care. Yeah, good one. There's always more. Yeah, it ties Roger Maris in the Rogers Center. 618, your phone rang one time and hung up. So if you were trying to get in, just call back. Unless it was an accidental dial and then you did hang up. And make sure you guys subscribe to King. Oh, I think this is Nate the Great. Is it Nate the Great?
It is, my man.
Yeah, what's up?
I didn't know if you was gonna make it down to Atlanta. I was gonna try to catch you on the loop when you came down the southern half of the country.
Didn't you used to be in Chicago?
I'm in southern Illinois. That's why Chicago is like 6 hours, 7 hours away.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm at Carbondale down by St. Louis.
I'm gonna continue and come back out to Atlanta. That's gonna happen. So.
I got family in Arkansas down that way. I could probably see you around somewhere like that. I've never actually been to Chicago, and I live in Illinois all my life.
That's funny. Huh. How far of a drive is it?
A lot of people here. What is it?
How far of a drive is it from where you are to Chicago?
About 7 hours, 7.5, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty good distance. Yeah, Illinois is a longer state than I realized. I'm going to have to pull out a map. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty long state. A lot of people in southern Illinois don't like it because up there is all blue, and everywhere down here is all red and redneck.
I see. Funny.
Yeah, they wanted southern Illinois to be the 51st state. They got shirts and stuff that's got the state separated in half. But I didn't know if you caught with Aaron Judge, it's 155 days after his birthday with the 155-61 connection. Christianity 155, Christian 61, Church 61, Church on Wednesdays.
94 days left in the year, Roman Catholic Church 94. Yeah, good one. Interesting. Again, Jesus, Cross, Church, Christian, Christmas, they're all 61.
You can go on all day. That's as soon as I seen his date duration, I tried to go live bet it, but they had it locked up, and that was in the 4th. I got distracted. He hit it, I think, in the 5th. Because I seen it the other day because I was thinking in 2 days he'll have 22 weeks and 3 days in his birthday. That'll be the same day they play the Orioles. And if they win their next game, they'll be 18-7 for the month. But if they split, they'll be 18-8, and Baltimore Orioles is 188. So I think at least they'll take one of the next 2 games. But then I didn't know if you seen the story with A$AP Rocky the other day. He spent $322 million or $322K on a chain with the Grim Reaper on it. The Skull Man.
You think that's organic?
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we still asking this question?
Right.
And then Coolio, Gangster's Paradise is 161. Los Angeles 161. Dead in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that too.
Los Angeles gets the 107 win today over the Padres. 107 on a Wednesday, the shooting numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Indeed.
Then the Mariners.
Nate,
Mariners like 8 runs.
hold. When you said the Mariners, you cut out.
The other day I had the Mariners winning. I thought they was gonna close it out. They was up by like 10 runs or something. Then they let 11 runs go in the 6th inning.
Really?
But that was for the 25. I seen the Super 25 day going on after that.
Yeah, Mariners 97, 25th prime. Yeah, I remember that. And the other 97 team, the Athletics won.
The moon was in Libra that day, and I hate betting on new moons and full moons. I usually don't even bet those days because the moon was in Libra, and Libra is 42 and 39, and they won and became 42 and 39 at home.
I see.
So yeah, I overlooked that one right there.
I see. Crazy.
Yeah, I ain't touched base with y'all. Just want to, give a shout out. Say I appreciate the trek across the country, man. I hate that it ended early.
I know, me too. I'll finish it though.
Yeah, we're not done. We're not done, man.
Indeed.
I'm still spreading the knowledge, but I'm just kind of sitting back. I can't deal with the trolls in a manner that's not cussing them out and whatever. I seen what's his name got his hands on the platform. The dude from Dead Patreon, man. Fucking a troll, dude. What's his name?
I don't know. There's a bunch of them.
That it ain't Daily Sports Picks. Whatever the dude's name is, the trolls every damn day he got on our platform.
Are you saying he got on the new site?
Yeah, he got on there somehow. I think Charmville might have got him out of there, but
okay.
I seen he got on there and I cussed him out.
Yeah, I'll block him every time he comes. Yeah, the most dedicated troll in the world. So
I think they got another. And then a Chicago game the other day, there was a trap. The Phillies could have went 35 and 37 in Chicago, 35-37.
Right.
But instead, the Cubs won. Instead of them getting the 37th away win, the score was 1-2. The Cubs won. Then they gave them the 71st loss today. Chicago Cubs 71. I think tomorrow the Phillies will get the lick back. Cubs 45, Phillies 45. Cubs should get that 45th home loss. I think we got the Phillies tomorrow, and it looks like, I don't know if it's a trap. It looks like a trap, but they got Thursday 35, 46 right on top of the board tomorrow. That's how they like to do it. I know everybody going to see it. They like to have us all throw our money on it, and then, sometimes it comes through and sometimes it don't. But if you look at the top of the board tomorrow, we got 35-46.
Yeah.
Just letting everybody know.
Indeed. 35 Thursday. All right, Nate. I appreciate it.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
See you later, everybody.
Yeah, have a good one. Take care. All right. It's on a TFR unless we hear from Nate the Great. Yeah, the trolls, man. Trolls are quite pathetic people. Yeah. I think we can leave it there, you guys. It's getting pretty late. Well, hold on. We got to take at least one more call because this person's been trying to get in the whole time. 480.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up?
I just wanted to say, first of all, I'm very new to the Gematria scene. A buddy actually sent me a video that you did on Kobe, and at first I wanted to deny it, but I watched it again with my wife, and man, it's I'm starting to become a believer, I think. But I wanted to tell you that first for my history in this, okay?
Okay.
I have a quick question. Ever since I was a little boy, I've seen the number 224 everywhere, and I see it in the most insane ways you could possibly imagine. Every apartment I lived in as a child, which was like 3 different apartments, were all apartment 224. And I can't really explain just how insane it'll be when I see 224. Every time I look at my clock, or like my phone, pull my phone out, it would be 2:24 p.m. And I even, a couple months ago, I'm not trying to plug my YouTube channel. I'm just some small gaming YouTube channel.
You can plug your YouTube channel. I'd let everybody plug their channel.
No, I don't even want to plug it. I'm just doing this as proof of what I'm saying about the number 224. I'm not even trying to plug it, but there's no other way to kind of prove it other than to say my YouTube channel. It's Some Political Gamer. Do not subscribe. It's a horrible little channel. But I made 2 or 3 videos making a side comment speaking about 224, how this February 24th, something like a domino's going to fall. Something is going to happen. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the hell is going to happen, but 224, February 24th. And lo and behold, Russia supposedly invades Ukraine. And it just blew my mind.
You're talking about Kobe. Remember, they had the Kobe Memorial on 224. And
yeah, it was what?
Do you know why that date's significant? Do you know why 224 matters?
Why?
Well, one reason it matters is that's the day in history that the Gregorian calendar that we're now on debuted. And
no. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the first day of the Gregorian calendar was February 24th in history. And
unbelievable.
And I don't know why it's so relevant to you. I wonder if somebody in your family's born on the 224th day of the year, or it's their name Gematria. If you write out the Society of Jesus, it equals 224. That sometimes they do some rituals with that number, but I don't think that's why it's showing up in your life. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very interesting. And like I said, I'm brand new to this thing, so I have no idea what's going on other than I'm starting to really feel this is some crazy stuff. But really quick, I don't want to hold you up much longer. But just as like another example of how I see this number, like I'll be playing an online video game where there's like 600 health points, and I'll be getting shot at, and I'll look up and briefly I'll catch a glimpse of my health, like at a freeze frame of being 224.
Sure.
And then it'll keep like draining.
Sure.
It's like, and I'll look up at the time, how much time left is in around 220, and it's honestly getting to the point where it's driving me crazy. Like I just see it everywhere, every single day. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I appreciate the knowledge that you shared with me. I want to look into it. I just started on that website, putting in my name and my wife's name, my children's name. I don't know what it is, man, but yeah, I just wanted to share that. I appreciate it, man.
Well, before you go, the date August 12th.
Yeah.
Does August 12th mean anything to you?
August 12th. Immediately, I want to say no.
What about May 21st?
Dude. That's when my first child was born.
May 21st?
Yeah.
That's the day leaving, 224 days left in the year.
Oh, my goodness, man. Dude.
See, that's how it is, though. So this number's been coming to you, and then your first child ends up being born on the day leaving 224 days left in the year.
Oh, my goodness. Dude. I don't know if it's common, but I'm saying, man, the number's starting to drive me crazy, man. I mean, I'm married. I run a business. I have 5 children. I love life, but this number, it's driving me crazy, man.
There's something about numbers in our life. It's just like my dad just got in his second car crash. Neither of them are his fault. Both times somebody crashed into him, and both are at the intersection of 117th. I'm like wondering, is my dad going to die someday on November 7th or July 11th? I mean, there's something about numbers.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's something to it. Yeah, my wife was like, "Oh, it might just be a coincidence." This stuff, I mean, it's crazy, but you never know. And then I told her the story last night of you driving from Phoenix, where we're located in the Phoenix area.
Well, that's true too. You're in Arizona, right? So Arizona equals 84 in the most simple cipher, and there's a mathematical connection with 84 and 224. The divisors at 84 equate to 224. So there's a relationship with those two numbers. Have you lived in Arizona your whole life?
Wow. Yeah, my whole life.
So maybe that's part of it as well, because there's something about that number. Because if it is spelling and spell casting, so like you live in a place where 84 is there, and then 84 has a mathematical relationship with 224. So maybe more people are seeing the number 224 in Arizona than, say, a state that doesn't equal 84. You know what I mean?
Right. I see. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, and when you say that, yeah, my wife sees 224 all the time.
Yeah.
Like she sees it probably just as much as I do. But yeah, interesting stuff, man. What really got me is how you left Phoenix to your mom's and you've hit that contractor. Like, dude, I have a really insane story like that, but I'm not gonna say it for the sake of time. Maybe next time I'll call in. But I mean, it's the most insane coincidence you'll ever hear in your life. So, but yeah, man, thanks for all that information. I won't hold you up too much longer. I know I was blowing up the line there for a minute, but man, this stuff's crazy.
Indeed it is.
This stuff is crazy, man. Thank you for all the work that you do, man. I look forward to diving into like all your YouTube content. Is there anything else, like a website you have where there's like a better archived history of
I
everything
have
you've done?
GematriaEffectNews. That's where I post most of my stuff now. My old website I don't post on anymore that Google's slowly deleting posts on is freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. And then we got the new community website. In the description of the video, it says how to download the, unless I haven't updated the description. I got to double check. But the new community website's pretty cool if you're not on there. There's a lot of people sharing information. So.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, really quick, was it you that on that website you just mentioned, did you do like a story about that Buffalo shooting thing?
I went to Buffalo after the shooting.
No, did you make like a video or post like a newsletter connecting like the Gematria and like the mayor of Buffalo and?
I think so. Yeah, as a print, I did as a printout for people who were going to come to the Buffalo thing with me.
Oh, okay. It must have been a different person that does Gematria. I don't know. You're the only one I know, but I do remember reading that the other day, and it was like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, this shit is crazy.
Indeed.
But yeah, that's it, man. I'll call someday and tell the other crazy story. But other than that, man, thank you for all the work that you do.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome. Take care.
Yeah, man. Take it easy, brother.
See you. See? If somebody said a number's coming at him, you just got to start looking at it for the day of the year. It's something going to happen to you on that day if a number keeps coming at you in your life. And yeah, I mean, it does make you wonder. Isn't it funny that like I've been going after the Jesuits all these years and I didn't even realize that I was born on the day they were suppressed in history? It's like, what are the odds of that? That's weird. So, Sean Zander is Sean Zander in the chat. If Sean Zander's in the chat, I want him to call in actually before I get off. 718.
Zach?
Yeah.
Can you hear me well?
I hear you.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I was going to point out that hurricane that's hitting Tampa, Florida now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Ian. In the pure cipher, Ian is 15. In the Francis
Just like
Bacon
Tampa,
cipher,
yeah. Ian and Tampa, both 15 and the most pure.
You got it. You said it. And the 15 prime is 47.
I want to put out, now that you're saying that, I want to put out one more thing about Tampa. In the most simple cipher, Tampa Bay, which they also refer to it as, equals 79, and today has 79 date numerology. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Besides it being 47 in the Francis Bacon, which is the 15 prime, today's 15 days after your boy DeSantis' birthday.
Oh, how about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah, good one. Business as usual. Thanks, man.
Yep, later.
And again, you guys, back in the day, we only knew the two ciphers, right? The alphabetic order and the alphabetic order that rules numerology. So Ian is 24 and 15 in those ciphers. Again, DeSantis declares an emergency for 24 counties in Florida, and then that was news all day on the 24th. And then Ian is 15 in the most pure cipher, just using numerology, just like Tampa. And you see how Tampa Bay's 79? It's hitting Tampa on the date with 79 numerology. And again, we were talking about Hurricane's 56, and it's 56 days after Brady's birthday. And just the other year, the hurricane passed over Tampa on the day the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. And again, they start off as Tropical Storm Ian, which equals 103, like it's the 103rd NFL season. So, anyhow, back to R.I.P. Coolio. We have officially covered the 3-hour time block that we would have done for TFR, but commercial free, so it's even more content. And it is late, and I do have to get up and do a whole bunch more crap tomorrow. But again, you guys bear with me. I know I'm not doing as many blog posts. I'm not doing as many videos. It's just because I'm moving, which is not something that I saw coming. It's just like, talk about out of left field. But once I'm done with all the moving stuff, we'll get back to usual. And it's so funny that I'm going to finish the book in the new house, and it just couldn't be a more appropriate address. It might even make it into the last chapter when I talk about the organic side of the code. Because again, when you really focus on certain numbers, they seem to manifest in your life. You might find that next thing you know, you're living in a house with that number. But yeah, that's all to come in good time. Again, thank you to everyone who hit the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. Thank you to the super chatters. Hold on. Hold on, Arthur, are you saying that Coolio died on his 59th day of his age? I thought Coolio died. Are you talking about Coolio? I thought Coolio died 57 days after his birthday or his 58th day of his age. Hold on. Did I screw something up? August 1st. Oh, yeah, I did screw something up. He did die on his 59th day of his age. Yeah, because it's 58 days after his birthday or his 59th day of his age. What was I doing? Hold on, let me make sure. I think Arthur's right. August 1st, 2022 to today. Yeah, 50. Yeah, man, look at that. Dead on his 59th day of his age on a 59 date numerology at age 59. That might be, I don't know if I've ever seen the 59 trifecta like that before. Yeah, let me fix this. I obviously did some bad math there. All right. So 58 days after his birthday. And remember, he's dead on the 271st day of the year, which is the 58th prime. Going with Gangsta's Paradise. So, and the other thing about dying 58 days after his birthday or his 59th day of his age, again, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Freemasonry 58-59. Pope Francis also has that 58 and 59, just for the record, the first Jesuit pope. All right, but yeah, good post. Can't believe I almost had that wrong. How blatant, man. 59th day of his age. 59 date numerology at 59. Again, a lot of stuff is organic. I'll tell you guys a real story. So, back when I first found this knowledge, I had a weed delivery business back then. And I only shared this information with like some people. But one of the people that I hung out with a lot that was a customer, his name was Jalen. And he was a little bit younger than me, black guy. And, you know, he was really into the racial thing because I was showing him. I mean, back then, even though I was in my early days of the research, I had a million examples of the 4259 thing already. And he was blown away by it. And in the time I knew him, maybe a year later, his girlfriend got pregnant. And so they were coming up with names for the child. And he's like, Zach, tell me the gematria of these names because I want to make sure that my kid's name doesn't equal 42 or 59. His name is Jalen, right? Jalen, Jalen, which equals 42. But I can't remember what the names of his children were, but he had two names that he really liked. And literally, and back then I only knew two ciphers, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order of the rules of numerology. But one of the names that he liked equaled 59 and the other equaled 42. And he was just blown away. And I said, there is something about an organic side. And I said, I mean, the thing is, too, I mean, it is weird how many common black male names in the U.S. have those numbers encoded. So that's part of why, you know, when you start picking names that you're used to, if you will, within your racial group, common names, it might be more likely that they do equal 42 and 59 because, in a way, all of this stuff was like, wouldn't it be interesting to go through the history of how many white guys are named Andre, for example, right? And here, remind me what Andre is. I mean, there is a white Andre somewhere out there, but yeah, and see, Andre is 42. But there's just certain names that black males will have a lot more than white males. And what I said to him back then is I said, you know what? If you really like those names, even though these numbers are used in this messed up way, I mean, if you like those names, I'd still give your child that name. And again, all things are good and bad. It's just we're always pointing out the way that this stuff's used in the most evil way. So yeah, it's amazing. And just how sick it is how they know to emphasize Gangsta's Paradise, and boom, just dead on the 271st day of the year. Brutal, blatant. And again, for people who haven't been here the whole time, the reason we realized reverse gematria was relevant is because I started going back over all my old research before I knew reverse and decoding the stories with the reverse in mind. I said, man, look at how this fits in perfectly. Look at how this connects. So I always hate when someone's like, oh yeah, he uses 4 ciphers to prove his points. It's like, okay, that person's new here. And back in the day, like 95% of my videos were just the dark blue cipher. And once we learned the reverse, I mean, there was just no going back. I mean, if we didn't talk about it, we were leaving out part of the ritual. It was obvious. This stuff wouldn't line up day after day unless this was the way it worked. The only argument left to be made is it all organic? Again, I really don't think there is, but you can continue to argue it. And I think it's fine for people to have those arguments because eventually it should set the light bulb off in somebody's mind that, again, you guys, when you're arguing with me, you're probably arguing with the person in the world who's put the most time into this. So often, you'll see the stupid headlines with the contrived numbers, and that should show you that it's not all organic. I mean, again, it's too specific. It doesn't make sense. 56% of California is going to get coronavirus in 56 days. I mean, and then in Gematria, it equals 56. Just like the guy saying it, Gavin Newsom equals 56, who happens to be one of these Jesuits. Again, that's the spell casting half of it. And at least that's my argument. And I think my argument's well supported. But we'll leave it there for now. Get some rest, everybody. And yeah, all the Weird Al stuff you guys are pointing out is interesting too. So yeah, we did solve more crimes than the FBI. The FBI is creating more crimes than they're solving. We know that too. We've been exposing the FBI more than they've exposed any criminal effort. That's for sure. If you guys missed I used to call the FBI's office. I'd always get hung up on. Back in the day, I probably made a good handful of calls to the FBI. Every time I've been just clicked, hung up on. They don't want any information. So I also did have the FBI come here on August 21st, 18. Never forget it. The anniversary of the movie Agent 47. Or what is it? Hitman, where it is Agent 47. That movie also came out on August 21st. And the year they sent the FBI agent here, it was a date with 47 numerology. And of course, agent equals 47 in the most simple cipher. I appreciate that. Tristan says they're going to do a Cash App. I do appreciate the donations. Thank you very much. And again, when I'm done with this whole movie thing, we'll get back to the regular information pouring out grind, and we will get this show back on the road. And if more people would step up and do the $1 a month on Patreon, and I could say, see, sweet lady, see, I told you that the support would eventually come. You guys could help me out in that effort if you like when I go out there. I'm starting to see how many haters I got for going out there, though. There's like this cult movement that started in the truth community critiquing what we did, saying that it's dumb to go out and form crowds and try to make a difference. It's like their message is like, we can get this done on the internet. It's like, how can we get it done on the internet when they're censoring the hell out of us? And come out and see, if you just want to do it on the internet, come out and be a part of the next get-together and see if it doesn't inspire you to make you want to do more in the world. I can't believe I have YouTube channels making videos trying to put down what we just did in New York. It is annoying how people are. Oh my God. Don't even worry about who said it. Some losers you don't need to know about. Their names have been said too many times on this channel. So. All right, you guys, have a good rest of your evening. It's almost midnight out here on the West Coast. That's past my bedtime, except for when I'm in New York. But, yeah, I got another busy day ahead of me. Hey, Sean Zanders, who I asked to call in, I see he's in the chat. Sean Zander was in one of these skeezy people's channels, and then he said he was so disappointed in both of us. And I was like, what's wrong with you, Sean? Anybody who's disappointed in what I did needs to, I don't know, man. A lot of you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, but there was this total goon just talking all this shit when all I was trying to do was get him to say, he was just having a conversation on his channel about how we need to come together and have action. And then I called in and said, hey, man, we're doing it. You guys got to come out next time. And then he got into all this bullshit talking mode and wouldn't shut the fuck up. And then I cussed him out and put him in his place as far as I'm concerned. I think everything I said was 1,000% true. And for anybody who thinks I'm in the wrong for saying what I said to him, again, I think you're kind of a moron. Did you listen to what that fucking loser was saying? Just talking nothing but bullshit and wouldn't shut the fuck up. Again, that's why I hate the internet too. I wish him and I were in the same room when that happened, because it would be a fight. It'd be a fight, and it needs to be a fight. So, yeah, anyone who thinks I'm in the wrong for how I responded to that loser who knows what I'm talking about, there is something wrong with you. You're from this pussy-ass, bullshit, fake, phony generation. That's all I got to say. Yeah, no shit, but I saw your comment too. I'm so disappointed in both of you. What was I supposed to do? All that goon was going to do was just keep talking shit. So I said exactly what the case was. Another fucking idiot who just read one of the 50-page Hermetic texts and thinks he's so smart. It's just, another hack on the tube. And people might have said that it was wrong of me to say that he looked like he was inbred, but doesn't he? He looks like an inbred. So I don't feel bad about that either. The first thing he did when I got on there was commented on my appearance. Oh, pretty boy, dressed like a... It's just like, okay. Don't start judging the way I look because I don't look inbred, Anyway. And it's sad. It's sad that we live in a nation where a fat inbred, he doesn't have much of an audience, but he just even has any audience. But again, it's because so many Americans look like that guy. They identify with him. Yeah, so anyway, we don't need to talk about it anymore. No Impact Flicks made a video about it if you guys want to research. And it just shows you what a goon he is. He doesn't have any time to cover our rally in his own city, Oklahoma City. He doesn't have any time to cover what we did in Buffalo. He doesn't have any time to cover New York. But he's on there right away, trying to use this footage to make me look bad. And I don't give a shit about anyone who thinks I look bad for what I said to that sorry-ass motherfucker. If you guys ever see me do hashtag SAMF, that's what I'm talking about. A SAMF is a sorry-ass motherfucker. And there's a lot of them in this world. So, hashtag SAMF. All of my critics, hashtag shut the fuck up SAMFs. Anyway. Yeah. All right, you guys, we'll leave it there for now. Have a good rest of your evening, and until next time.